Hello, HNE here again. Today, we have a new manhwa, The Return of the Genius Ranker. If you enjoy it, please give me a like, a share, and subscribe. A game called Deus Ex Machina Ragnarok, or Demrock for short, was a title that hit #1 globally right after its release, opening up a new era for VR games. Demrock dominated the global market, flourished, and won the Game of the Year award. It was a legendary game that once had over 100 million concurrent players. However, its popularity gradually cooled down. Demrock's ranking slowly dropped over time, and soon, its servers are set to shut down completely. A group of players was sitting together around a campfire. At that moment, a few notification messages from the game appeared before them. Hello, this is the Ex Machina Ragnarok. In 30 minutes, the game will officially cease operations. Kang Do-hun, also known as Kang Do-hun, the #1 ranker in Demrock. His face showed no expression as he read those lines. Beside him, Borazum mumbled with a hint of boredom. This damn game. I cursed it to shut down every day, and now it's actually happening? Borazum. Number 5 in Demrock. The Sword Emperor also frowned, replying with reluctance. I feel the same way you do. Besides it being a trash game, it was pretty fun. I don't get why it's shutting down. The Sword Emperor, number 4 in Demrock. As soon as he finished, Kudak added, You fight a dragon, and all it drops are bricks. It'd be weird if it didn't shut down. Kudak, number 3 in Demrock. The moment he spoke, the Sword Emperor asked back irritably, Do you always have to be such a mood killer? Kudak avoided his gaze while retorting, Was I wrong? The Sword Emperor frowned and continued to grumble. I thought, only the mask was lame. Turns out the way you talk is just as trashy. Kudak's limit had been reached. He jutted his chin out defiantly. What? You want to go? This attitude made the Sword Emperor so weary he had to sigh. All you know is how to fight. Their bickering was stopped by Do-hun's voice from a distance, but it was followed by his own wry smile. I have to admit, I'm a little sad about it too. Hearing this, Borazum laughed in agreement. Well, of course, you're the one who grinded this game the hardest. It makes sense you'd be sad. With that came his own exclamation. Every time I watched you fight, I thought you were playing like you were possessed. Kudak shrugged, adding in a friendly tone. But the world really is fair. You know, you're the unluckiest one in our group, huh? Borazum flashed a cheeky grin as he replied. Not a single legendary skill, and you're still #1 on the server. If he were just a little bit luckier, we probably wouldn't even be in the same league, right? Old memories were brought back to life through Kudak's storytelling. He failed his enhancements 10 times in a row and then screamed, This world is trying to kill me. You had to be there to see it. It was priceless. Borazum concluded with a final remark. Come to think of it, he was the worst boss of all. This story made the whole group laugh. This time, it was the Sword Emperor's turn to chime in. The unluckiest person I've ever met, for sure. After they had chatted for a while, the final announcement from Demrock appeared. Hello, this is the Ex Machina Ragnarok. As planned, the game servers will officially shut down today. Thank you for staying with us until the very end. Their game characters began to fade away. Borazum smiled and said his farewell. Everyone, you've worked hard. The Sword Emperor looked away and commented, So, this is really the end. Meanwhile, Kudak smiled even wider, offering them a promise. See you all in a better game. From beginning to end, Kang Do-hun stood still, watching his friends disappear. The fire was still burning, growing stronger even. He said nothing, as he was the last one to vanish, and the light of the game gradually faded. The VR headset was placed on the table like a final full stop. Demrock's servers were officially closed. And just like that, 2 years passed. A new day began in this modern city. Buses were zipping along the main road. On one of them, a soldier was nodding off next to 2 young men when an exclamation was heard. His control is insane, isn't it? Young-jun commented while looking at his phone screen. Check this out. He's soloing the Demon King. He smirked, his eyes never leaving the phone screen. Among the Annihilation rankers from the Executor Guild, he's definitely the strongest. This time, Jimin, who was next to him, added with sparkling eyes, The guild is great and all, but I like the Empress more. Her aura and the way she operates alone. She's like a lone wolf. He looked at his friend's phone screen and added, I bet no one can beat those 2 right now, huh? Young-jun lazily asked back, Isn't there one more person? Jimin couldn't help but feel curious. Who? His attitude changed completely when talking about his idol. The strongest player from the Demrock era. The #1 ranker. Jimin let out an "oh" as he remembered. Ah, that's right. There's still Kang Do-hun. But after the game shut down, he disappeared along with it. I wonder what he's doing now. At that moment, Kang Do-hun, sitting beside them, just let out a smirk. It had been 2 years since Demrock's servers closed. Times have changed, and the hottest game right now is Demrock's successor, called Ghost of Savior, or G for short. Just like its predecessor, the number of players in this game grew rapidly. The game's content was also greatly improved. Many new races and classes were introduced. It was a world of infinite freedom. The smile on Kang Do-hun's face turned more sinister as he thought to himself, just you wait. The God Ranker has returned. Kang Do-hun, the former #1 ranker of Demrock, Kang Do-hun, had just been discharged from the military with the rank of Army Sergeant. He was heading towards a high-rise apartment building. As soon as he got home, Kang Do-hun eagerly shouted, "The capsule? Where's the capsule?" His younger sister, witnessing his arrival, could only sigh and say, "What's with you? You're back?" She and her mother watched as Do-hun rushed past like a gust of wind, adding, "The first thing you do when you get home is look for the capsule, huh?" Her mother's half-joking, half-real complaint echoed after him. "When you were little, it was always, 'Mommy, Mommy.' You only ever looked for your mom. I guess once they grow up, kids don't need anyone anymore." However, Kang Do-hun didn't hear a word of it, because he was busy observing what was in front of him. In the middle of the room was a gaming pod. This is it. The thing I've only ever seen on live streams? The VRCS. Kang Do-hun pressed his cheek against it, thinking excitedly. For 1 year and 6 months in the army, I saved up every penny. I finally have you. His hand slid over the gaming pod as he marveled internally. This feel. These curves. Kang Do-hun didn't waste a second and quickly opened it. Once settled inside, he looked around and remarked, "Even though it's secondhand, it's pretty comfortable." Not wasting another moment, Kang Do-hun grabbed the helmet and eagerly declared, "All right then, time to log in." The connection was seamless, and the game's notification sounds began to chime. Retinal scan in progress, confirming ID card. It was quickly completed for Kang Do-hun. ID card confirmed. Synchronization complete. Game icon appears. Along with it came a notification. God of Savior, welcome to Adventure Paradise. The place where he appeared was a hall filled with light, where a series of tutorial prompts appeared one after another. Please create your character. Kang Do-hun stared blankly at his own reflection in the mirror. This is my character? He raised a hand to scratch his head, thinking to himself, he looks just like a soldier. However, when he saw all the hairstyles popping up randomly in front of him, Kang Do-hun felt annoyed. What's with all this stuff? What a pain. I'll just pick whatever and get it over with. The system continued its request. Please set a nickname. He considered this carefully. A nickname, huh? A smirk formed on Do-hun's lips as he entered a familiar name, Kang Do-hun. The character creation process finished with a notification. Character created. Hello, Kang Do-hun. Your hashtag is Kang Do-hun 3125435543. Now transferring to the tutorial area. What welcomed him was a devastating scene, with fires raging everywhere. This was the bloody battlefield of Allen Castle from the past. The moment he appeared, Kang Do-hun was astonished, and thought to himself, is this really a VR game? A series of notification windows popped up. Please select a weapon. As he read, he mused, a weapon? As his eyes scanned over the familiar items, Do-hun made another observation. Same old stuff, nothing special. In the end, he went with his gut, choosing what he was most used to. Holding the weapon in his hand, Kang Do-hun thought with satisfaction, I've only ever used a sword, ever since Demrock. But just as he finished selecting his weapon, a voice called out from behind him. Hey, you there. The figure of a man came running over frantically. His question followed close behind. What are you doing here? It was the night captain, Chuck Lai. Chuck Lai grabbed Kang Do-hun's arm, urging him along as he pulled. Hurry, we have to go now. His face was filled with terror. The other mercenaries have already joined the battle. As soon as he started moving with Chuck Lai, another notification appeared. Party formed with Night Captain Chuck Lai. The two of them ran quickly past the castle wall, then entered the castle together. The scene before Do-hun now was a floor littered with corpses. Chuck Lai looked around with a grim expression and cursed under his breath. So, they've finally colluded with the demonic beasts? If the rumors are true, he's already made a pact with that monster. His tone grew serious as he added, if we don't stop him now, that thing will descend upon us. Chuck Lai then began to lead Kang Do-hun along with him. Hurry, this way is the fastest. He didn't say anything, just followed cautiously behind. But as they stepped through the door, an arrow flew towards them from a distance. Chuck Lai's steps came to a sudden halt. He glared ahead with annoyance. On their side, a horde of monsters had appeared. Quickly, Chuck Lai declared, they've made it this far? I'll handle these guys and clear a path for you. However, before he could finish his sentence, Kang Do-hun charged forward, sword in hand. One of the monsters in the horde roared in fury, but his gaze didn't waver, focusing only on the battle before him. Seeing the monster swinging its weapon, Chuck Lai shouted a warning. Watch out. Meanwhile, Do-hun just casually pivoted on his heel, and the monster's attack missed completely. It was so stunned its eyes went wide. Now, it was Do-hun's turn to counter, drawing his sword. He unleashed a perfectly clean slice. The expression on Do-hun's face didn't change one bit. With that momentum, he pressed forward. Seeing their comrade taken down in a flash, the other monsters were bewildered. A few others, however, charged forward recklessly, not caring for their own lives. It attacked but failed once again. Kang Do-hun bent his leg, preparing to counter. His knee slammed straight into its jaw. The monster groaned in pain. Seeing their ally defeated, the remaining monsters couldn't help but feel a chill run down their spines. They were so scared, their faces turned pale. But Kang Do-hun showed no mercy to anyone. He charged forward powerfully and delivered the finishing blow. Only then did Kang Do-hun's pace finally slow. The last of the monsters had finally fallen. He swung his sword, shaking off the blood that clung to the blade. Then, Kang Do-hun smiled in satisfaction and thought to himself, "It's been a while since I've fought, so I was a little worried, but I guess I'm not too bad." He did a few light jumps to get a feel for his body. If anything, my body feels lighter. At that moment, Chuck Lai exclaimed, "My God, I can't believe it. You took down 5 demonic beasts all by yourself." A series of notifications appeared as his expression changed. Knight Captain Chuck Lai is in awe of your strength. Chuck Lai's favorability has increased. That's incredible. Do-hun himself was a bit baffled by that phrase. Favorability? He began to ponder. Demrock had this too. But, for it to increase so quickly after just one time, isn't that a little too easy? On the other side, Chuck Lai was having his own thoughts. For an unknown mercenary to possess such strength, could it be that this young man is the hero who only appears in the history books? The notification windows kept appearing. Knight Captain Chuck Lai is deeply moved by your performance in battle. Chuck Lai's favorability has greatly increased. Chuck Lai's favorability has reached its maximum. He now trusts you completely. Even if you do something wrong, as long as you claim you were framed, he will believe you. This was followed by a mission summary. New title acquired. Max favorability in the tutorial. Max favorability in the tutorial. Rarity, rare. Description: a title for those who reach max favorability with an NPC during the tutorial. Effect: favorability with NPCs increases faster. All stats +2. Upon reading this, Kang Do-hun remarked with interest, "Hey, that's pretty good." He approached and said, "Thanks to you, things just got a whole lot easier." Then he pointed towards the door in front of them and continued to explain, "Now we just need to eliminate the dark mage inside, and we can end this battle with a victory." But before they could move, the space around them changed. Oh no. Have they already started the summoning? Lightning flashed, followed by the appearance of more monsters. Seeing the dire situation, Chuck Lai immediately gave an order. "I'll handle things here. You go in there and stop that summoner." His body began to glow as he continued. "With you, I can entrust this task without worry." He offered a prayer for Kang Do-hun. "May the blessing of Saint Alan be upon this hero." Immediately after, Chuck Lai charged forward without a hint of hesitation. Left behind, Kang Do-hun was stunned. "I have to go inside?" He recalled the videos he had watched before and wondered to himself, but in the tutorial videos, isn't Chuck Lai supposed to be the one who goes in first? However, an answer was quickly provided. "I heard the story changes depending on the player's actions. But to this extent?" Kang Do-hun stopped in front of the door, from which a strange aura pulsed intensely. A notification popped up. Only one person could enter. If they died, the seal would be broken, and all of the boss's debuffs would be removed. "Do you wish to enter?" Reading this, he sighed in amazement again. A notification like this in the tutorial? However, Kang Do-hun realized once more that this was a hidden piece. To explain what a hidden piece is, it's a concealed mechanic within the game. It can only be activated or obtained under special conditions, sometimes yielding extremely rare rewards. The system reconfirmed his decision. "Do you really wish to enter?" A smile spread across Do-hun's face. There was no reason to avoid a treasure like this. Yes, as soon as the choice was made, the gate swung open. Greeting Kang Do-hun were screams and the sight of someone being devoured. "How can this be? I summoned you, so you must obey my command." The corners of the demon dragon's mouth were stained with red blood. Do-hun's eyes widened in shock as fresh blood dripped from its body. The creature standing before him was the chained blood iron demon dragon. Title: Legendary named boss. Danger level: unknown. Species: dragon. Characteristics: currently sealed. Description: a demon dragon from the abyss known as blood iron, currently bound by chains. All of its power is sealed, severely restricting its movements. Kang Do-hun's jaw dropped in disbelief. A legendary grade boss? This brings us to God of Savior. The game God of Savior copied a lot from Pinra. What it specifically copied was the Ex Machina Ragnarok. One of those things was the ranking system. This system included tiers like Epic and Legendary. What was special was that this ranking rule also applied to boss monsters. However, the most special ones among them were the unique monsters bestowed with their own individual names. And right now, the Blood Iron Demon Dragon was in chains. It was a named boss. The demon dragon raised its head to observe Do-hun, then suddenly let out a roar. The force of the roar was directed straight at him. Several notification windows popped up one after another. You have heard the roar of the imprisoned Blood Iron Demon Dragon. Your physical abilities have been reduced due to the roar from an overwhelmingly powerful entity. Movement speed has been reduced by 20%. Attack speed has been reduced by 20%. Defense has been reduced by 30%. And magic resistance has been reduced by 25%. Do-hun grimaced in annoyance and thought to himself, "Are you kidding me? Is this some kind of sick joke?" He observed the demon dragon's body, wondering how this could be when its stats were supposed to be sealed. But would that really make a difference? Kang Do-hun's gaze fell to its feet. If he got hit by that giant claw, it would definitely be an instant kill. However, he tried to remind himself, "I'm used to this kind of chaos. Things like this happened all the time back in Demrock." Memories of his battles from the old game resurfaced, and every single time, I only made one decision. The aura surrounding Kang Do-hun suddenly changed. It's either live or die. He snapped his eyes open, sensing something was wrong. The demon dragon launched an attack out of nowhere, forcing Kang Do-hun to leap back and dodge. His feet slid across the ground before he came to a stop. Taking advantage of the opening, Kang Do-hun slashed at its leg. The demon dragon roared in pain, while he struggled to brace himself. As the demon dragon's shadow fell over him, Kang Do-hun turned, quickly backing out of its attack range. However, even after counterattacking, Kang Do-hun himself was pushed back a great distance, his eyebrows furrowed. Kang Do-hun looked at the demon dragon's health bar and made a silent assessment. 120 HP lost in just 2 hits. But then he let out a long, self-mocking sigh. It's exactly like they said on the forums. This difficulty is complete trash. They had all declared, who in their right mind would try to beat a named boss? Are you guys insane? It's impossible. It wasn't designed for you to kill. Kang Do-hun remembered those comments as he tirelessly attacked. Don't even mention the Blood Iron Demon Dragon, or whatever the hell it is. It gives me the creeps. Honestly, it's scary as hell. Besides him, there was still someone asking, wait, isn't there any way to kill it? I saw someone dealing damage to it. Nah, it's hopeless. Even Annihilator couldn't take it down. Do-hun continued to swing his sword, dealing damage despite all the useless chatter. I think the devs just let it take damage to make it feel more realistic. Wow, you actually thought about attacking it? I just stood there frozen until I died. His efforts quickly sparked a new wave of discussion. Channel Central? What the heck? Its name just changed, right? The Fall of Wisdom. What's going on? Oh my god, wait. Did it really change? Do their names just change automatically like that? A flood of comments appeared one after another. A game bug? No way. It's run by an AI that's many times smarter than AlphaGo. So what's the reason? Don't tell me someone actually managed to kill it. Huh? For real? How the hell could a level 1 player kill the first boss? You mean someone just defeated the boss that even Annihilator lost to? Who was it? The sword in Do-hun's hand plunged into the demon dragon's foot once more, hard enough to draw blood. The demon dragon let out a tragic roar as its enormous body fell powerlessly to the ground. This was followed by the appearance of several notification windows. You have defeated the chained Blood Iron Demon Dragon. You are the first person to defeat the tutorial boss. You have single-handedly defeated a legendary grade named boss. This achievement will be recorded in the annals of history. Your reward is... Do-hun, meanwhile, was busy panting after the exhausting battle. Unbelievable, he remarked to himself in frustration. What a nightmarish monster. Pulling his sword from its body, Kang Do-hun muttered, "The first one, huh?" He glanced away and thought, that means even those bastards couldn't kill it. Do-hun was thinking of his old friends. Damn developers, you call this something people are supposed to beat? What a trash game, screw it, damn it. The corners of his lips curved into a smile as he wondered, I wonder how they're doing now. More notification windows appeared, catching Kang Do-hun's attention. You have received the title, First Dragon Slayer. Talents are formed based on your playstyle and achievements, followed by a series of newly unlocked skills. The Weapon Master talent has appeared. The Hidden Dragon talent has appeared. The Conqueror talent has appeared. The Hero talent has been revealed. The Overcomer talent has appeared. The necessary conditions have been met. The Unique Grade talent, Eyes of Truth, has been revealed. Reading this, Kang Do-hun couldn't help but wonder, what is this? Why did I get so many talents? He waved his hand in front of the notification screen as if to confirm it was real, his mind racing. Normally, you can only get a single one during the tutorial. As for talents, they are one of the special systems in Lord of Salvation. They range from exploration support types like Pathfinder to combat specialized ones like Swordsman. The better your performance, the higher the grade of the talent you receive. Reading this, Kang Do-hun couldn't help but exclaim, this is insane. An increase to all stats, the Swordsman effect for all weapon types, spatial tracking, and even immunity to debuffs. His eyes gleamed as he continued to read on. Do-hun's gaze focused on a single line, another unique grade talent. The Eyes of Truth talent, unique grade. Effect, see through all hidden things. The more he read, the more thrilled he became. Weapon Master, the Hero, the Conqueror, they were all amazing talents, but they weren't unique. Kang Do-hun muttered to himself with conviction. Even if no one has all of them at once, there are bound to be plenty of players who have at least one of them. Then he turned his attention to something else. But what about Eyes of Truth? It's a unique grade, which means it's the only one of its kind in the entire world. After mulling it over, a smile spread across Do-hun's lips. I've hit the jackpot. 1 unique talent and 5 regular ones. His own information window appeared. Title, First Dragon Slayer. Grade, Legendary. Description, deals additional damage to boss-type monsters. Side effect, gain +5 to all stats when consuming flesh, effective on bosses, can stack up to +10 stats. And on top of that, this overpowered title. It felt like Kang Do-hun was on cloud 9. Oh man, this is amazing. So sweet. I can't believe someone with my rotten luck could get an opportunity like this. However, his train of thought was interrupted by a noise from outside. Over on the other side, Chuck Lai turned his head toward the door, as if not believing his own ears. He stammered, then Chuck Lai slowly took a few steps forward. Do-hun, for his part, was still bewildered. As he stepped inside, he spoke up. I'm sure I heard the roar of a beast. Did you really slay that creature? He looked at Chuck Lai and nodded in acknowledgement. Yeah, I guess so. Chuck Lai looked at him in astonishment and exclaimed, and yet you're standing here without a single scratch. Just who in the world are you? Kang Do-hun was about to casually explain. Well, but the man quickly raised a hand to stop him. No, who you are or where you come from no longer matters. With the respectful air of a knight, Chuck Lai placed a hand on his chest and declared, true heroes always appear in times of chaos. I'm certain that your presence. Kang Do-hun still didn't understand what was happening. His voice rang out once more. His round will become a beacon that brings great change to this chaotic world. And I, Chuck Lai, believe this with all my heart. Chuck Lai even knelt to the ground. Oh, great hero, I implore you, would you grant this humble knight the honor of becoming your sword? His hand rested on his chest as he took his oath. A system notification appeared, explaining the current situation. Chuck Lai, Knight Commander of Len Castle, wishes to swear allegiance to you. If you accept, Chuck Lai will renounce his title as commander and become Kang Do-hun's subordinate. The master will receive all corresponding benefits from him. Do-hun's eyes widened, and he thought to himself, you've got to be kidding me. However, since he has long been deceased, you will not receive any benefits from being his master. Reading these lines, he finally felt a bit less bewildered. That's right. This tutorial is just a reenactment of the past. Kang Do-hun nodded slightly as he replied. So, this is just a sort of formal event? All right, I accept. Chuck Lai's face lit up at these words, and along with it, a few more notifications appeared. You have accepted Chuck Lai's oath. You will forever be the master in Knight Commander Chuck Lai's memories. The battle recorded in history as the tragedy of Len Castle will now be remembered as a final victory in Chuck Lai's mind. He will be able to rest in peace and hope for a better future. Kang Do-hun quietly observed what was before him. Rest in peace, huh? A light suddenly appeared along with a message. You will soon be transported to the Pantheon. The blue light formed a portal. Just then, Chuck Lai spoke up from behind him. My master? His question was filled with anticipation. Where is our next destination? Kang Do-hun turned his head, thinking to himself. Our next destination? He smiled and then explained. In any case, this is a harsh world. Do-hun's expression turned more serious as he declared, so we will go wherever we need to go. Chuck Lai's eyes lit up when he heard these words. Wherever we need to go. The blue light enveloped both of them. The system continued to announce. Preparing for teleportation. You will be sent to the Pantheon in 5 seconds. 5. 4. Suddenly, Chuck Lai thrust an item into Kang Do-hun's hand. My master, please take this. Kang Do-hun looked at it, confused. What is this? The system's countdown continued. You have obtained an item. A satisfied smile was on Chuck Lai's lips. Thank you. My master, please save. Teleporting to the Pantheon. The scenery in front of Do-hun quickly changed, and information appeared along with it. Welcome to the Pantheon. This is the place where you choose a god and decide the path you will walk. We wish you the blessings of the gods. Kang Do-hun looked around with a rather emotionless expression. So this is the legendary Pantheon I've heard about. That said, instead of its noble name, Pantheon, people usually know this place as more of a meeting point, or more accurately, a gacha hall. A unique feature of Gotos that has made countless players both cry and laugh. This is the place where the divine lottery begins. You are only allowed to serve a single god, and your profession will depend entirely on the god you choose. Furthermore, since everything in the game Gotos is clearly tiered, the gods also have their own distinct rankings: mythical gods, heroic gods, and legendary gods. As for the mythical gods, they were originally entities who became divine thanks to stories passed down by mortals since ancient times. Heroic gods, on the other hand, were humans who were once hailed as heroes in the past, later ascending to the pantheon to join the ranks of deities. The final tier is legendary gods, those who wrote their own legends, such as Zeus from Greco-Roman mythology or Odin from Norse mythology, who both belong to this group. Naturally, the latter tiers were of a higher grade. At that moment, several system messages appeared. Each card hides a different god within. Please choose the god you wish to serve. Seeing the vast number of them, Kang Do-hun couldn't help but marvel. Whoa, there are so many choices here. He decided to close his eyes and pick one at random. After all, his luck was terrible, so there was no point in being greedy. Unexpectedly, among the pile of cards, one shone differently. Why is that card over there glowing with such a brilliant golden light? With that thought, a skill activated. The Eye of Truth skill has been activated. Do-hun's eyes widened, and he muttered the words he'd just read to see through whatever was being concealed. He followed this, with a gasp of awe. This ability is beyond imagination. He looked at the glowing card before him and began to consider the possibilities. If this is real, then from now on, every time I open a card pack, victory will always be in my grasp. Memories of playing games with his old teammates came flooding back. How could his luck be so pathetically awful? Everything else was fine. But when it came to his luck, Kang Do-hun couldn't help but feel a little scarred just thinking about it. Back then, I just laughed it off. But do you have any idea how bitter I truly felt inside? His gaze fell upon the glowing card in front of him. But now, as long as I have this in my hand, returning to the ranks of the top players is entirely possible. However, even though he was so excited his nostrils were practically flaring, Do-hun had to remind himself, okay, stay calm. His hand slowly and almost instinctively reached forward. I won't aim for anything but the golden cards. He finally grabbed the card. Its information quickly appeared. You have drawn the legendary god, Tyr, the one-handed sword god. Do you wish to select this god? The corners of Kang Do-hun's mouth curled into a triumphant smile. A legendary god, huh? This is an amazing start. However, immediately after, messages with a red background appeared. Aptitude to become an apostle has not yet been formed. You cannot become an apostle of Tyr. Please draw another card. Kang Do-hun's mood instantly plummeted. What the hell is happening? I can't be an apostle? The system notified him again. The god Tyr is greatly bewildered by this unexpected situation. He carefully considered the message. The physical vessel to contain the power hasn't been created yet? Kang Do-hun had to admit to himself that he'd never heard of or seen a case as strange as this before. Finally, an idea sparked in his mind. Wait a minute. A vessel for power? Kang Do-hun recalled what happened earlier. Normally, after a player is killed by the demon dragon, a goddess appears to bestow an oracle. His train of thought continued. However, because I defeated the red dragon, the goddess never showed up. If that's the case, is all this trouble because I haven't received the goddess's enlightenment? Kang Do-hun then opened his own status window. Player level 11 has achieved maximum favorability from the start. Title: First Dragon Slayer. Strength 5 plus 18. Agility 5 plus 18. Stamina 5 plus 18. Perception 5 plus 18. He quickly noticed what was different. In the profession section, where it should have said apostle, there was nothing. It simply displayed two words, adventurer. A difficult problem had presented itself. Damn it, so what am I supposed to do now? And then, Kang Do-hun looked up again. At this rate, these other cards are worthless. They'll just tell me I don't have the aptitude anyway. All the excitement from before vanished like a popped bubble. Do you know how long I've waited for this moment? Kang Do-hun clutched his head in frustration, trying to reason with himself. What should I do now? If I delete this character to make a new one, I'll have to wait for 60 long days. However, just then, he noticed something else that was strange. Kang Do-hun's gaze was fixed on a red card lying discarded on the ground. Red? His hand touched it, as he thought to himself, I've never even heard of a red tier card before. Information about the card immediately appeared. You have selected a hidden card. You have chosen Hashira, the forgotten last adventurer. You possess the aptitude of an adventurer. You have officially become the apostle of Hashira. Kang Do-hun's eyes glowed with the red hue of the card. I'm sure of it. This is a secret piece. System messages appeared continuously as a red light slowly enveloped his body. You have been promoted to the Last Adventurer. You have received the skills of this class. The Last Adventurer class describes how humanity, in its primordial age, were all adventurers. They were once the masters of the land of Vethel, stronger than anyone, possessing power that threatened even the gods until they faded away in vain. From that fateful day, humanity was defeated, and I am the last adventurer remaining. Long blocks of information continued to scroll by. Innate ability. Adventurer. Adventurers are beings who crave freedom, the masters, and also the friends of Vethel. They carry within them explosive potential. Effect. You can learn and use all skills without being restricted by your profession. Reading this, Kang Do-hun could only exclaim, "This is completely insane," he thought with satisfaction. "I'm no longer bound by a character class. I can use any and all skills, and then find a way to develop this. Thanks to this, I can build my own unique skill system, selecting only the most useful skills to use." Kang Do-hun quickly formulated a plan. On top of that, combined with this eye of truth, I'll definitely be able to get the exact skills I want. What would happen if I paired it with the weapon mastery talent? He even fantasized about the future, a time when he would truly become omnipotent, with no weaknesses left whatsoever. The system continued to provide information. The class change process is complete. You will be teleported to the Vastal region momentarily. Throughout the process, Kang Do-hun kept reminding himself that all he needed was this start. The system's countdown began. 3. A proud smile formed on Kang Do-hun's lips. This was well worth trying again. At that moment, light began to envelop his entire body. 1. To climb to the rank of a high ranker in the Vastal region, the city of beginnings, bustling and full of light. Everyone here had their own goal. Oh man, this reward roll was a total bust. Just gotta be a little more patient. There were still countless things to do in Gotos, even if you didn't have a combat class. Just then, 2 figures were walking together on the street. One of them remarked with a bored tone, "Looks like we're not gonna find anyone promising today." To be precise, these talent scouts were officers responsible for recruiting new members for guilds. But in the eyes of the players, they were no different than those annoying cult recruiters asking if you found the faith. The gray-haired man continued, annoyed. "I need to fill my quota this month, or that bastard of a manager will start throwing a fit." Just then, the black-haired man looked off to the side and spoke up. "Hey, check out that guy over there," they observed Do-hun, adding their own commentary. "He looks like a total wreck, doesn't he? Looks like his spirit's been completely crushed." In the end, the two decided to just ignore him. There's no point in trying to recruit broken kids like that. The truth was, Kang Do-hun was reading the lines of information appearing before him. Necklace of blood and contract. A piece of jewelry bearing an oath made from the blood of Chuck Lai. Only the descendants of Knight Commander Len are permitted to possess it. Item grade. Hero. Level requirement. None. Restriction. Only for the master of Chuck Lai. Special option. Defense and magic resistance will increase each time a certain amount of experience is accumulated. Unlocks at level 35. His jaw dropped as he marveled inwardly. Amazing. This is a hero-grade item. Even the stat lines are incredible. Once again, Kang Do-hun felt like he was bathing in honey. The feeling was so sweet. It was truly, truly wonderful. However, a notification popped up, cutting his excitement short. Notification. Goblin Extermination Quest. Kang Do-hun mumbled as he read. A goblin subjugation quest? It wasn't just him. Many others received the same notification. Exterminate goblins. Level. Normal. Description. A commission request from Dante, a veteran hunter in the ARDE region. Defeat 40 goblins. Reward. 80 silver and a certain amount of experience points. Risk. Your affinity with Dante may decrease. Time limit. 24 hours. Each of them reacted differently. It's a hunting quest. Awesome. I've hit the jackpot. I don't even have to wait in line. From a distance, Dante stood on a high platform, waving enthusiastically. All right then, I'm counting on all of you. Hunters, please help me purge those stupid goblins. As soon as they received the quest, the people present immediately began forming parties. Looking for party members here. Anyone want to team up for the Animal Hide Collection quest? LFP, need a tank, DPS, and support to power level straight to 12. Kang Do-hun looked around and took in the situation. It seemed everyone was joining a party to get things done. From behind, a group of 3 approached him with an offer. "Excuse me, our group is planning to grind to level 12 quickly. Would you like to join us?" Their faces were lit up with friendly smiles. "Let's play together and get that party bonus. Let's hunt them together." Kang Do-hun considered the offer very seriously. A party? That makes sense. He knew full well that not only was hunting much easier with teammates, but with the added experience bonus, party hunting was practically a requirement. Kang Do-hun didn't waste any time and quickly agreed. "Sounds good. Let's party up." Jay's party has been successfully formed. Party members: Jay, level 1, Mikan, level 1, Yubi and Gong, level 1, Kang Do-hun, level 1. Upon seeing Kang Do-hun's name, Jay quickly commented, "Oh, you're a fan of Kang Do-hun too?" Mikan chimed in curiously. "Kang Do-hun? Who's that?" Yubi and Gong kindly explained from the side. "He was the #1 ranker back in the days of Demrock." Her eyes lit up with understanding. "Oh, I see. You must be a huge fan of Kang Do-hun then." He nodded in agreement. "Totally. You even named yourself Kang Do-hun." Throughout all this, Kang Do-hun just offered a wry smile without saying a word. Their spirits were high. "All right, shall we get going then?" Let's get to level 12 as fast as we can. Let's go. He reluctantly followed along. It wasn't long before a fight broke out. Jay inflicted a debuff on the Green Goblin. The Green Goblin is stunned for 1 second. He successfully landed the attack and turned back to signal the others. My bash just hit. Everyone, focus your attacks on it. Yubi and Gong called out while loosing an arrow. Mikan understood immediately and attacked as well. Magic burst. The two friends dealt damage together and quickly took down the goblin. You have successfully defeated a green goblin. Seeing their comrade fall, the remaining goblins were half confused and half enraged, and they decided to charge forward recklessly. However, Jay once again successfully shielded the party. Yubi Ingong's voice rang out. Block it. Mikan followed up. Use your shield, man. Jay strained to block the green goblins and shouted, finish it off, quick. However, the other two members hesitated. Hang on a second, my skills are still on cooldown. Just then, the shadow of another green goblin appeared from behind. Even Jay's jaw dropped at this. A triumphant grin spread across its face, certain that its sneak attack would succeed. However, there was already movement on the ground as Kang Do-hun lunged forward. He took down the green goblin with a single slash. You have defeated a green goblin. Jay was visibly stunned. Yubi Gong and Mikan wore the same expression. Do-hun landed lightly after felling the green goblin, but just a second later, he charged forward again. Do-hun then zipped past the group of goblins, triggering a series of notifications. You have defeated a green goblin. You have defeated a green goblin. The other party members watched this massacre with unconcealed excitement. Incredible. Well done. Kang Do-hun, you really are the best. Only after finishing things up did Kang Do-hun sheath his sword. Top Shield appeared from behind with a smile. Everyone worked hard. Good job. You guys are really skilled. He even started to daydream. If we keep up this pace, we'll reach our goal soon. But before he could finish his sentence, Top Shield urgently warned, Kang Do-hun, behind you. A horde of green goblins appeared from the edge of the forest. All of them wore ferocious expressions. Seeing the overwhelming difference in numbers, Top Shield immediately suggested a retreat. We can't take this on. We need to run, now. However, Kang Do-hun once again charged forward. Seeing Kang Do-hun, the green goblin horde on the other side gleefully rushed him. He leaped high into the air, preparing to engage them in close combat. At that moment, Kang Do-hun's eyes were filled with killing intent for them. The forest, which just a second ago had been peaceful, was now thrown into chaos by a flurry of attacks. A confused Borazum voiced his question. Why do you always rush into such risky battles? Are you hot-headed, or is there something wrong with you? A reckless person is bound to taste defeat sooner or later. To this question, Kang Do-hun simply replied nonchalantly, Reckless? What are you rambling on about? He began to explain. Look, when your health is at a critical level, and then a boss-level monster suddenly appears, isn't charging straight at it completely insane? However, he was cut off by another question from Kang Do-hun. But in the end, I defeated it, didn't I? Borazum was taken aback for a moment before agreeing, well, I can't deny that, you're not wrong, but that move was still incredibly dangerous. Back in the present, a horde of green goblins stood before Kang Do-hun. How reckless. He looked at them and silently agreed with the sentiment. Perhaps so. There's no reason to do it. Needlessly risking your life just to fight is unnecessary. At that moment, Top Shield hurriedly turned around, intending to retreat. We're not strong enough to handle them. I'm getting out of here. However, Kang Do-hun had already charged forward. Inside, Kang Do-hun thought to himself, but I've never once fought blindly. The green goblins excitedly rushed toward him, and the two sides quickly clashed. Kang Do-hun's eyes now glowed red. I fight simply because I'm certain that I will win. The once peaceful forest was thrown into chaos in the very next second. Kang Do-hun relentlessly attacked the horde of green goblins. System notifications appeared one after another. In the middle of the fight, he glanced back. Now, only a single poison blowgun goblin remained. Kang Do-hun's feet immediately changed direction. And then, he targeted them for an attack. I believe I can do this. He unleashed a series of flawless sword strikes. The green goblin, with the poison blowgun once again, prepared a sneak attack. Kang Do-hun was cutting down its comrades when a hidden weapon flew toward him. Kang Do-hun's vision was enhanced, and he easily parried the hidden weapon. The green goblin that witnessed this was so shocked its jaw dropped. Kang Do-hun charged directly at it, his feet sliding to a long stop on the ground, because in front of Kang Do-hun was another green goblin, eagerly charging forward. It gnashed its teeth and swung its sword at Kang Do-hun. His eyes flashed red, and with a single strike, Kang Do-hun easily took down the green goblin. Several system notifications appeared. A satisfied smile crept onto his lips. Now, watch this. His offhand changed its position and drew a dagger. Then, Kang Do-hun plunged the dagger into the green goblin. He had just finished one and was already facing another. Their weapons clashed. Kang Do-hun successfully knocked the club from this green goblin's hand. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of it. A look of terror flashed in the green goblin's eyes. That was the moment it met its end. Kang Do-hun stabbed it with his dagger while snatching its weapon, and then he used that very same club to finish off the green goblin. System notifications appeared in succession. This is pretty good, isn't it? Looking at the battlefield he had created, Kang Do-hun couldn't help but marvel. I thought I would just learn the skills without restrictions, but I never expected to be able to use them instantly like this. His face became incredibly excited. This is far beyond what I expected. From behind, Top Shield was still watching. He couldn't believe what was happening. What the hell is going on? This is ridiculous. The truth was, everyone knew that even a seasoned party would have a hard time hunting a whole horde of goblins like that. Top Shield continued to watch Kang Do-hun, but he cleared them all out by himself? The name caught his eye. ID Kang Do-hun. A bewildered Top Shield asked himself, I can't believe it. Could this really be the same Kang Do-hun from the Demrock days? But he quickly denied the thought. No, that's impossible. After all, everyone knew that he was a genius player who had disappeared from the scene for the past 2 years. So what the hell is Kang Do-hun doing here now? Ever since Demrock shut down, no one had heard any news about him, and now he just happens to show up in my party today? This makes no sense at all. Top Shield grew more and more confused. So who is this guy, really? However, Kang Do-hun was busy enjoying his victory. Whoa, this is amazing. So good. His somewhat deranged expression made Top Shield feel uneasy. He seems a little crazy. A blue light suddenly appeared. Kang Do-hun watched as the green goblin slowly vanished and quickly understood. It seems everything disappears except for the dropped weapons. He wasn't too bothered by this. Well, I've lifted the weapon restriction and can even use skills, so I think this is good enough for now. Kang Do-hun then requested to open his status window. His information appeared almost instantly. Player, Kang Do-hun, level 4, HP, 300 out of 350, MP, 200 out of 150, Stamina, 230 out of 140. Class, Adventurer. Finally, Apostle of Hashira. Titles, 2. Max Affinity from the start, First Slave. Strength, 5 plus 18. Agility, 5 plus 20. Constitution, 5 plus 19. Perception, 5 plus 18. Magic, 5 plus 18. Remaining points, 2. I gained 3 whole levels from just a single hunt. Kang Do-hun calmly reviewed the information panel. Even though I'm not restricted by any weapon type, my core is still sword-based. I'll put 9 points into strength, 8 into agility, and dump the rest into perception. He calculated in his head. His other stats were already temporarily boosted by his titles and Chuck Lie's necklace. An exclamation from behind caught his attention. Wow, Kang Do-hun, that performance was absolutely insane. The party members were all in awe. I'm officially your biggest fan now. Kang Do-hun, you're the best. Top Shield couldn't help but ask. With this level of skill, are you really the legendary Kang Do-hun? Yubi Ngong, who was next to him, quickly chimed in. Come on, that guy has been inactive for ages. How could he just suddenly reappear like this? However, he stuck to his guns. But after seeing him fight with my own eyes, it's the most logical explanation. Huh? The other person partially agreed. He really does give off the vibe of Kang Do-hun in the flesh, doesn't he? They continued to shower Kang Do-hun with praise. That was seriously cool. If you said you were the real Kang Do-hun, I'd believe you in a heartbeat. He just smiled awkwardly, but thought to himself, damn it. But I am Kang Do-hun. Just then, another question was asked. By the way, Kang Do-hun, did you receive power from some mythical god? The amount of damage you're dealing is insane. Kang Do-hun once again replied humbly, it's all thanks to my talents. I also got lucky and picked up a title. Hearing this only made them admire him more. You even have a title? Aren't you on your way to becoming a ranker? I'd better get on your good side now. The party chatted for a while longer. Then, Top Shield suggested, all right, it looks like my health is fully recovered. Shall we continue hunting? Yubi Ngong's spirits soared. Why don't we just take down 10 more while we're at it? Seeing how excited they were, Kang Do-hun had to agree. Good idea. Yubi Ngong declared loudly. Let's move out, shields. We've got the big boss Kang Do-hun with us. Mikan excitedly agreed. Let's go. Only Kang Do-hun's expression changed, as voices from the past unconsciously echoed in his mind. Let's hurry up. Back then, Kudak and Borazum were arguing loudly. But first, we need to gather the necessary supplies. Kang Do-hun will take care of everything anyway. He's a pro. The Sword Emperor was annoyed by his attitude. Hey, we're rankers too, you know? Kudak retorted. A ranker like you is getting cocky? The Sword Emperor grew even angrier. What? Who are you talking about? Right. Do-hun looked up at the sky and wondered, so what? I wonder what the others are doing now. Unexpectedly, another information panel appeared before him. Urgent quest. Mutant Goblin's Blood. Rarity. Rare. Description. This quest was commissioned by Kaz, an alchemist who has lived for centuries. Recently, he has been secretly observing the mutant goblins and seems to have found something to aid him. Collect fresh blood from the mutant goblin warrior residing in the caves of Ardi Forest. Defeat mutant goblin warrior, 0 out of 1. Mutant goblin warrior's blood, 0 out of 1. Completion reward, 1 gold. A certain amount of experience points and a silver ring personally crafted by Kaz. Failure penalty. Kaz's affinity may decrease. Time limit. None. Kang Do-hun's expression changed. A mutant goblin warrior? Kang Do-hun's party soon arrived in front of a giant cave. Ayubi Ingong was the first to speak. I'm getting nervous. Mikan agreed with him. Me too. Hearing this, Kang Do-hun thought to himself. It's understandable that they're anxious right now. He recalled what happened before they arrived at the dungeon. Thanks to hunting more monsters on the way here, we learned that this dungeon is nicknamed the Newbie Grinder. The party consisted of Top Shield, level 9, HT, level 9, Yubi Ingong, level 9, and Kang Do-hun, level 9. The comment section was buzzing. How the hell do you kill that mutant goblin warrior? I just failed my 3rd attempt. Do they really stand a chance? It's totally beatable if you just follow the guide. No way. I followed it, but it's insanely hard. One small mistake, and the whole party gets wiped. What's the point of even playing then? Reading this, Do-hun could confirm that this was one of those dungeons. A dungeon where players are guaranteed to die on their first try. They headed inside with determination, treating it as a taste of a real raid. At the Tomb of Ardi, none of the nicknames people had for it sounded the least bit hopeful. They were greeted by a goblin warrior. Compared to hunting regular goblin mobs, the difficulty here was significantly higher. The instance itself even had unique mechanics. Combining both of those factors required extremely tight teamwork. Another party was walking out in frustration as Kang Do-hun's group headed inside. No wonder this place is called the Newbie Grinder. The comments started flying. Oh my god, for real. Is it even possible for us to beat this thing? They should have designed it to be soloed. I just want to punch my party members in the face every time they screw up. Mikan listened and mumbled. Sounds like it's really tough. Top Shield replied to her with a look of determination. It may be difficult, but we have to clear it. If we can't beat this place, we won't get a chance to join any of the upcoming raids. Kang Do-hun hadn't taken his eyes off his teammates this whole time. He's right. He recalled some discussions on the forums. Even the major guilds were posting notices. Please adhere to the forum rules. Recruiting for Guild Plus. Requirement. Must have defeated the Goblin Warrior. Hero rank or higher. Top 10. 2022 views, 24 likes. Umbrella Guild recruiting. Must clear the Goblin Warrior. Find Wong at Game Galler. 2,359 views, 25 likes. Gable recruiting. Must defeat the Goblin Warrior. Find Wong or Heller at Game Galler. 15,578 views, 189 likes. Would they even choose such a different game? A few other members wondered. Do we really have to kill that Goblin Warrior? If you don't, you won't be able to join any guild or party. Can't I just lie and say I already beat it? No, they're asking why they can't just make it up? Various topics related to this Goblin Warrior kept popping up. Don't you know that everything is recorded in the adventure log? This is so frustrating. Just quit the game already. Your intelligence is probably on the same level as that goblin. Those cheap tricks don't work in Ghost of S. This brought up the appearance of an item, the adventure log. Inside that adventure log, everything is recorded, from material quests to the discovery of new lands, and even the defeat of bosses. You could say that every action a player takes in the world of Ghost of S is saved in the adventure log. However, as time went on and the list of defeated bosses grew longer, things might change. But if players wanted to join the Sun Boss party in the next city, they had no choice but to grit their teeth and overcome this challenge. Kang Do-hun thought to himself as he entered. Besides, the boss in the next city was a mandatory target, unlike ARD. After walking a bit further, he stopped. Before them stood a massive gate with clearly displayed information. Lair of the Rare Mutant Goblin Warrior. Party type instance, single boss characteristic. Description. The dwelling of a warrior who was once a legendary and brave green goblin, until he was cursed and driven out by his tribe. Player limit. 4. Level requirement, below level 10. Kang Do-hun then turned around and declared, "So, shall we head in?" The other members, though still anxious, agreed. "All right, I'm ready." Mikan even added, "I've studied the strategy guide more than 10 times. I'll do my best not to make any mistakes." However, right after they said that, the atmosphere suddenly fell silent. The four of them just stared at each other until Top Shield remembered his role. He slowly stepped forward, then placed a hand on the gate and announced, "All right, I will now initiate entry." A system notification quickly appeared. Party leader Top Shield is requesting entry into the lair of the mutant goblin warrior. Do you agree? This time, Yubi and Gong declared in a loud voice, "Let's go." Mikan stepped forward with similar resolve. Kang Do-hun looked visibly intrigued. Agree. More system information appeared. Checking the number of party members. Verifying entry level. After successful confirmation, the gate opened for them. Entering the mutant goblin warrior's domain. The excitement on Kang Do-hun's face grew more and more apparent. It's been a while. Time for a little warm-up. The group stood before the entrance, cautiously observing their surroundings as they slowly moved forward. Torches on the walls lit up in unison, and the target they needed to conquer quickly appeared. Mutant Goblin Warrior. Health, 20,000. Title, Elite Boss. Type, Goblin. Trait, Mutant Warrior, Extreme Physical Enhancement. Once the greatest in his tribe, but a curse changed his skin color and stole his sanity. He was exiled after a crazed massacre. This goblin warrior had a twisted grin on its face. It let out a menacing roar. The ceiling trembled from the force. Seeing this, Top Shield remarked, "So, this is an elite boss." Mikan couldn't help but feel a little anxious. That anxiety lasted until Kang Do-hun's voice rang out. "It's charging." The goblin warrior targeted them and attacked. At the same time, Top Shield made an observation. No matter how skilled Kang Do-hun is, he glanced back, assessing Do-hun. He can't protect all three of us. Then, Top Shield looked at the other two party members. He finally made a decision. He needed to perform well himself. The goblin warrior continued its show of force. An order was given by Top Shield to the team members. Everyone, spread out. They quickly moved in different directions. As Top Shield moved, he cautiously watched for the first mechanic. Charge. Just as he thought of it, the goblin warrior rushed forward. Its head slammed right into the rock, and a system notification popped up. The mutant goblin warrior is stunned for 2 seconds. Yubi Ingong and Mikan seized the opportunity to cast their spells, and their attacks hit the mark. However, the goblin warrior was completely unfazed. Top Shield's eyes widened at this. He gritted his teeth as he looked at the greatsword in its hand. The goblin warrior swung down with a powerful strike. Top Shield struggled to block it. He even activated his passive skill. Protector has been activated. A system notification appeared. Defense, health, and stamina stats will increase when an ally is behind you. Top Shield turned and signaled, "I've got its attention." A blue light appeared as Kang Do-hun launched his attack. The goblin warrior cried out in pain after taking the full force of the blow. An explosion was created almost instantly. This made Top Shield comment with delight. "Excellent. Everything's going smoothly. At this rate, we can clear the first phase safely." From the back, Ayubi Ingong shouted a warning. The next mechanic is about to start, but Top Shield still didn't understand what he was talking about, because everyone knew that, in theory, that mechanic only appeared when its health dropped to 10,000, and the Goblin Warrior's HP was currently at 19,982. Top Shield was dumbfounded as he saw the monster preparing to launch its attack. However, Kang Do-hun acted in time, closing the distance and striking it in the blink of an eye. The Goblin Warrior roared in pain from the heavy wound, and Top Shield was just as surprised. Kang Do-hun didn't stop there. A smug smile appeared on his face, along with a declaration, "Mechanic handled." The two of them sat down on a stone bench. The reporter said, "Sir Kang Do-hun, your team has conquered all of the most difficult dungeons to date. You are celebrated as a member of the strongest party to have ever existed. Could you please reveal the secret to your success?" Kang Do-hun replied with a bright smile, "Our secret? Perhaps it's just that everyone makes the most of their own strengths." She jotted down his every word in her small notebook. The reporter actively engaged him in conversation. Typically, the structure of a standard party composition includes 4 key roles: a tank, a damage dealer, a healer, and a support. She had one question. "However, I noticed that your party is missing a tank. Is it even possible to go on a raid without that role?" Do-hun paused to think about it. A tank, they certainly play a very important role. Kang Do-hun had considered finding one, but the role was so immense that no one had yet taken it on. They have to face the boss head-on, block its attacks, and absorb all the damage. It's an essential responsibility, and I felt I was the missing piece. That's why I took on that role myself. This unexpected answer made the reporter's jaw drop. "Wait, what?" Kang Do-hun just chuckled and glanced at her. In a recent battle, his party had to face a ferocious long-nosed goblin. Even Top couldn't believe it. How is that possible? It was Kang Do-hun who charged in and took it down all by himself. Even true tanks would have a hard time stopping its blows with crowd control skills. So, how could he break its attack pattern without using any CC abilities at all? He only had a small sword in his hand, yet every slash was a critical hit. And, on top of that, he's supposed to be in a damage-dealing position. Even with a giant sword in its hands, the goblin couldn't do anything to Do-hun. It roared fiercely in frustration. He wasn't even scared. In fact, he charged forward with burning intensity. An attack like this is nothing. With a single slash, he disabled its limbs. The entire party was both thrilled and shocked. Yubi Ingong praised Kang Do-hun relentlessly. Oh my god, look at how he's only targeting the weak spots. That's insane, absolutely monstrous. And he just blocked its attack again. Suddenly, Top Shield was startled when he saw the goblin's health bar had dropped significantly after just a few of Kang Do-hun's slashes. The boss's health was down to just 20%. Seeing that the time was right, he ordered the whole party to advance. The second phase is about to begin. Everyone get ready for the next wave of attacks. Yubi Ingong had her crossbow ready, and Mikan held her staff at the ready. Roger that. At that moment, the system announced that the mutant goblin warrior's health had fallen below 20%. This mutant goblin warrior was unleashing its special trait. The goblin's muscles bulged with veins. It had transformed to become stronger, and they were ready for a decisive battle. The system announced, "The warrior trait has been activated." The goblin let out a ferocious roar that shook the very ground. The system kept feeding them information. All of its stats skyrocketed, and it had entered a berserk state. The mutant trait had also begun to take effect. Kang Do-hun took a stance, ready to give it a beatdown. Bring it on. The goblin was now manifesting its mutant trait, a type of abnormal power. It granted a unique skill to each boss. The power given to this mutant goblin warrior was a rule. It was also known as 0073. The system continuously analyzed. If physical damage is dealt 4 or more consecutive times, the entire party will be inflicted with a debuff. If magical damage is dealt 3 or more consecutive times, all attacks will be reflected back to the player. As it roared, a strange heat emanated from it, pushing them back slightly. Due to the influence of the warrior trait's berserk state, all players' attack speed and movement speed have been reduced by 4%. Yubi Ingong spoke up. Just dealing with this monster normally was tiring enough, and now there's a debuff on top of it? But Do-hun was the only one unaffected. Hero trait has prevented mental contamination. Berserk effect has been nullified. You are completely immune to the effects of the mutation. So that's how my inner power unleashes my killing intent. This means all those debuffs have no effect on me, right? Seeing their worry, Top tried to reassure them. Hey everyone, calm down, and don't accidentally attack it. Focus all your energy on dodging at all costs. Yubi Ingong readily cooperated. We got it. Then, he remembered Kang Do-hun and turned to ask about his situation. You don't have any objections to this, do you, Kang Do-hun? But Kang Do-hun was strangely calm. He told them to just wait here for a moment. This response left Top Shield confused. What did you say? Suddenly, a blood-red glint appeared in Kang Do-hun's eyes, and his entire body flared with killing intent. He smirked and said, I'll go up there and handle it. Top Shield couldn't believe his eyes. In a flash, Kang Do-hun had shot forward and was right at the goblin's feet. It thought it could crush him with a single blow, and laughed triumphantly. However, it was mistaken. He used just the tiny sword in his hand to block its monstrous blade. Do-hun's eyes blazed with fire. In less than a second, he had landed countless slashes all over the goblin's body, making it shriek in agony. Yubi Ingong wondered, why aren't the control effects touching him? Mikan found it strange too. While all of us are struggling with these status effects, everything was happening too fast. Top couldn't believe Kang Do-hun's extraordinary abilities. What the hell is going on? Wasn't he just considered a god of damage dealing before? He looked up, his mouth hanging open, and now, Kang Do-hun looked like nothing less than a true god of war. No matter how many times the goblin slashed, it couldn't stop Do-hun's assault. He slashed at its neck. It groaned in dull pain as he struck again from behind. In Top Shield's eyes, Kang Do-hun was now like a player who could hack the game. ID. Kang Do-hun, you have successfully leveled up. Swordsmanship proficiency has increased. Your swordsmanship level has reached level 7. Due to the effect of level 7 swordsmanship, sword damage will increase by 7%. The goblin charged like a mad beast, enraged, and slashed repeatedly at Kang Do-hun. He just glared at it, and with lightning-fast reflexes, swung his sword and struck it precisely. He didn't just slash once, but continuously, without tiring, each strike accurate down to the millimeter. Another slash, and then another. The system was busy announcing his achievements. You have successfully leveled up. Swordsmanship proficiency has increased. Your swordsmanship level has reached level 7. The goblin was beaten so badly, it couldn't even defend itself. Thanks to the rage effect, you will deal an additional 10% damage to boss-type entities. Kang Do-hun leaped forward to deliver the final blow. Before it could even turn, he had already gotten behind it and slashed down. Thanks to the rage effect, you will deal an additional 10% damage to boss-type entities. Kang Do-hun's eyes glowed crimson as he poured all his strength into this one strike. The blow landed on its back. The goblin let out a blood-curdling scream as blood splattered everywhere. Then it collapsed to the ground, dead. The system immediately announced, you have successfully defeated the mutant goblin warrior. The dungeon had been officially cleared. Yubi Ingong's eyes widened in disbelief. Mikan was also in complete shock. Top Shield, breaking out in a sweat, said, I was about to say something about Kang Do-hun. Yubi Ingong, confused, asked, him? What's the problem? Well, he still hadn't recovered from the shock. His mind filled with questions. Could he actually be the real Kang Do-hun? That question startled them both. What? They all carefully watched Kang Do-hun's every move. Standing on the dead goblin's back, Kang Do-hun radiated an aura of victory. The system window appeared. The system calculated the clear time, 29 minutes and 58 seconds. Current rankings. First place, Seabest's Party, 29 minutes and 58 seconds. Second place, Anonymous Party, 35 minutes and 11 seconds. Third place, Massacre's Party, 42 minutes and 12 seconds. Fourth place, Other Parties, 44 minutes and 7 seconds. He leaned on his sword, listening as the system continued its analysis. You have reclaimed the top spot on the time attack rankings. Additional rewards will be distributed based on contribution levels. First place, Kang Do-hun. Second place, Seabest. Third place, Mikan. Immediately after, items began to materialize. The reward for the highest contributor has been sent. You have received the Mutant Goblin Warrior's red leather armor. You have received the Mutant Goblin Warrior's red gauntlets. You have received the Mutant Goblin Warrior's great blood sword. You have obtained the title, Throne of the Time Trial. Throne of the Time Trial. Description: this is a noble title bestowed upon the one who stands at the pinnacle of the race against time. New effect: each time a new record is set, all stats will permanently increase in accordance with that achievement. Acceleration: the time trial is a relentless chase between predator and prey. The holder of the throne must always move faster, increasing all speed by 10%. Bonus stats from the current record, +5 to all stats. Kang Do-hun smirked victoriously. Just as I thought. These goblins are only beautiful when they're chopped to pieces. His chuckling expression was both fearsome and captivating. Yubi Ingong couldn't help but exclaim, "Oh my god, isn't that a hero-grade title?" Mikan's eyes sparkled too. These kinds of bonus stats are incredibly rare. Top Shield thanked him profusely. "Thank you so much, sir. Without you, we couldn't even dream of getting such amazing rewards." Mikan added, "Thank you so much." Kang Do-hun smiled kindly and said, "It was nothing." Suddenly, someone called his name, Kang Do-hun. Top Shield looked at him, his head slightly bowed, and asked, "Could you take a look at the names that were just registered on the ranking board?" The system displayed the current rankings. First place, Seabest's Party, 29 minutes and 58 seconds. Second place, Anonymous Party, 35 minutes and 11 seconds. Third place, Massacre's Party, 42 minutes and 12 seconds. Fourth place, Other Parties, 44 minutes and 7 seconds. 10th place, Slayer's Party, 46 minutes and 35 seconds. Top Shield spoke to Kang Do-hun with a remorseful expression. "I should have changed the party name before this," he stammered, bowing his head. "I'm so sorry, sir." Kang Do-hun scratched the side of his ear and gave a wry smile. Well, he thought to himself, actually, having your name in the number 1 spot on the rankings is a huge privilege. An image of a waving red flag appeared in his mind. They could even get offers from top 10 guilds thanks to the incredible achievement they just pulled off. Looking at Top Shield's face, Do-hun realized that even if this was just a dungeon in a beginner city, taking the top spot was still a significant milestone. He remembered that figure with the blazing golden eyes. And more than that, he was now ranked even higher than Massacre. Top Shield apologized to Kang Do-hun once again. "I'm so sorry for unintentionally causing trouble for you," he offered, "whether it's compensation with money or anything else, just name it. I'll do my absolute best to repay you." The corners of Kang Do-hun's mouth lifted into a slight smile, as he said calmly, "It's fine." Top Shield was surprised to hear this. Kang Do-hun explained, "It was unintentional. After all, the system automatically uses the party leader's name for the rankings anyway. Besides, I didn't even think we'd get first place." Kang Do-hun suddenly felt relieved. Whatever, it's just a name on a list. Shining in the spotlight, attracting all that attention would just be exhausting. Immediately after, a greedy smile spread across his face. Kang Do-hun thought, "The only thing I care about is the reward." The system then displayed information about a greatsword. Kang Do-hun looked at it for a moment, thinking, "This is called the Warrior Set." He analyzed in his head. The quality ranges from rare to rare plus. These are the best items a player can get at the current level. His pupils constricted, and a delighted grin spread across his face as a wicked thought flashed through his mind. "And I managed to get my hands on top-tier items like these. So how could I possibly be upset about any of this?" He laughed as he thought this, seemingly forgetting that other people were around, which made him look like a madman, laughing to himself. Top Shield asked with concern, "Are you really okay?" It was as if his inner demon had taken over for a moment. He snapped out of it and opened his eyes, looking as if he had no idea what just happened. Then he waved his hand dismissively and laughed, speaking normally again. "Yep, I'm perfectly fine. so you really don't need to feel so guilty about it. Yubi In-gong gave a formal salute, as if accepting an order, thanking Kang Do-hun. Thank you, sir. From now on, I pledge my absolute loyalty to you. Mikan cheered, shouting praises. Kang Do-hun is number one. Only Top Shield remained lost in thought. He's truly on a completely different level. The system displayed a notification. The dungeon session will end shortly. Suddenly, a powerful blue light appeared, creating a three-dimensional portal. Top Shield turned and said, "Hey." Yubi In-gong replied, "What's up?" Top Shield confessed. To be honest, when I read all those posts online praising Kang Do-hun, I just thought they were exaggerating, he admitted, but now, I get it. Top Shield watched Kang Do-hun's retreating figure and said with conviction, "This is the true power of Kang Do-hun." Kang Do-hun turned back and asked, "Aren't you coming?" Top Shield was flustered. Yes, right away." Top Shield quickly stepped through. Then, everyone entered the portal. The magical energy transported them elsewhere. They arrived in a back alley of the city. They entered an item shop. Yubi In-gong exclaimed, "It looks completely different from the outside, huh?" Mikan's jaw dropped in curiosity. "It's like magic. How can the scenery be so different?" Kang Do-hun looked around, and something suddenly caught his eye. At the counter was a person completely wrapped in a scarf. He seemed to be the shop owner, but wasn't very friendly to customers. He growled, "And just who are you people?" "That was the alchemist, Kaz," Yubi In-gong said cautiously. "He looks pretty scary." Mikan agreed. "He looks like a total creep." Top Shield gestured for them to be quiet. "Don't judge others by their appearance," he said. "I trust you're not here to tell me you're giving up." Kaz added, "There are many people waiting to be saved, but I still need more blood for my research." Kang Do-hun slammed a potion bottle onto the counter. Inside was a red liquid. The man was startled and said, "Is this the blood of a mutated goblin warrior?" He looked like he was going crazy. You people actually found it? It's only been about 40 minutes. Kang Do-hun calmly replied, "What you said is exactly right." Kaz looked at him with admiration. "Unbelievable. You took down that mutated monster so quickly?" The system then displayed the stats. The effect of the maximum initial affinity title has been activated. Affinity has increased significantly. Your relationship level with Kaz has risen. You have completed the quest, Blood of the Mutated Goblin Warrior. Images of the reward items appeared. The rewards included 1 gold coin, a large amount of experience points, and a silver ring crafted by Kaz himself. You have leveled up. You have leveled up again. One by one, everyone in the party leveled up. Their systems chimed with non-stop notifications. You have passed Trial O. The ranking results for Trial O will not be saved. You can now travel to the main continent. You have received a low-rank skill draw card as a reward. You have received an additional random skill draw card for reaching level 10. Yubi In-gong cheered excitedly. "Main continent, here we come." Mikan screamed even louder. "This is awesome." A series of system notifications appeared. You have obtained a reward for completing special conditions. You have acquired a postcard with Kaz's handwriting, a postcard with Kaz's signature, rank, rare. Description: a postcard that preserves Kaz's handwriting. Kang Do-hun looked at the reward and thought, "A special gift? Alright, I can check that later." He clicked on a system tab. This is the most important part. The moment I've been waiting for since leaving Pantheon. A series of hidden cards appeared on the screen, then shot out in beams of light. The cards floated in the air as Kang Do-hun watched and thought. Compared to Pantheon, this place seems a little less majestic. Suddenly, he activated another skill that took the form of a golden eye. It made his eyes glow with a brilliant golden light. The system announced, "Skill, Eye of Truth has been activated." He thought to himself, maybe because this is just a low-rank skill draw card, the golden cards flying around aren't anything special to look at. The system announced, "You have learned the skill, charge slash, rank, common, class restriction, swordsman." Description: you can dash in a designated direction while performing a sword swing. Effect: deals damage equal to 150% of attack power. The dash distance is proportional to your movement speed. The higher the attack speed, the faster the skill activates. Cooldown, 10 seconds. Kang Do-hun assessed. This charge slash skill isn't half bad. Kang Do-hun looked up more information, smiling as he remembered using it often back in Demrock. Still, the real prize I'm aiming for is something else. More cards were drawn from the system. Kang Do-hun figured it was the card that allowed a random skill draw, ranging from common to legendary rank. The system asked, "Do you want to use the random skill draw card now?" Before he could react, the system announced something else. "Your login time has expired. You will be logged out in 5 seconds. Kang Do-hun could only gasp. What? The game system explained this. Login time restriction. This is a system designed to prevent players from exhaustion or game addiction due to becoming too immersed in this hyper-realistic virtual world. He realized he'd lost track of real time. Have 10 hours already passed? Only 3 seconds remained on the countdown. The card began to glow. The system counted down to 2. He was so tense that sweat soaked through his shirt. The cards glowed brighter and brighter as the system hit the final second. In a panic, Kang Do-hun grabbed the system panel. He began to fade out of the area. Meanwhile, the system announced, "Login duration has ended," forcing disconnection. After a moment, 1, then 2, then 3 cards appeared. Kang Do-hun stared at the screen, so tense he was sweating buckets. The cards emitted a bright light. The system had now counted down to 1. Kang Do-hun cried out in terror. The system announced, "Your connection time has ended. System is disconnecting." At that moment, in his stasis pod, Kang Do-hun woke up from a long sleep but couldn't move to get out. After a moment, he suddenly let out a blood-curdling scream. Time passed until the next morning. Kang Do-hun was so anxious that he was trembling in his chair. The clock struck 10 o'clock. He gritted his teeth and thought, "It worked." Then he went back to the stasis pod and lay down inside. The system immediately began its analysis. Scanning retina. Authenticating ID card information. ID card verification complete. Data synchronization complete. Establishing connection to the game, Ghost of Savior. Kang Do-hun's consciousness was transported to another dimension. Welcome back to the paradise of adventurers. We wish you an exciting and memorable journey. The back alley of Arty City. The scene was an old town. Kang Do-hun stood anxiously in a street corner. He was incredibly tense as he looked at his system screen. "I need to check this right away." Back then, I'm sure I saw a golden light flash, and the text said there was a new, unread skill. Opening skill inventory. Inside were just the cards from before. Kang Do-hun let out a sigh of relief. So that's what it was. He had been worrying that the glowing cards meant something was wrong. I thought it was going to be a legendary rank skill, but it turned out to be less than I'd hoped. Oh well, my item drop luck has been pretty good lately anyway. At the same time, Kang Do-hun also received a new skill, Backstab. Rank, Hero, Class Restriction, Assassin. Behind the opponent to disorient them and unleash a massive amount of damage. The effect teleports you behind a target within a certain range. At this point, the enemy is marked for a period of time, and the skill can be reactivated one more time before the mark disappears. When used again, the player will close in on the target once more and unleash a critical hit based on the damage accumulated on the mark. With a 50-second cooldown, he was a bit surprised by this savage skill. A backstab skill? This old town is always crawling with assassins. This was a trademark skill exclusive to the assassin class. It's the very reason why ranged players are always wary when facing assassins. They can strike at any moment, even when you try to create a safe distance. Still, this was an overpowered skill that could close the distance in the blink of an eye. And somehow, Kang Do-hun had obtained such a dangerous skill. When he realized this, he grew smug. But how did it fall into my hands? If I can just gather a few more things like this. His smile grew more and more unsettling, his mind filled with rather sinister thoughts. Whether it's player versus player or monster hunting, I'll definitely become the perfect damage dealer, capable of crushing everything. Just then, 2 soldiers, a man and a woman, were walking by, chatting with each other. I've carefully studied all the guides, so just leave everything to me. Really? Of course. The man was startled when he saw Do-hun. He was so lost in his fantasies that his head looked like it was about to explode, and his stance was wobbly and unsteady. A puff of smoke escaped from Kang Do-hun's mouth. His eyes were bloodshot, making him look like a demon from hell. Kang Do-hun's bizarre appearance frightened the two of them. The man said, "That guy looks a little crazy." The girl agreed. "We should probably take another route to be safe." And with that, they took off running for their lives. Kang Do-hun finally became aware of where he was, wondering why they had run off. He looked at the system screen, secretly delighted. "Anyway, I've got a new skill. Should I try on the new gear I just got?" In his inventory was a full set of armor, the red leather armor of the mutant goblin warrior, the shoulder guards of the mutant goblin warrior, the great sword of the mutant goblin warrior, and the silver ring refined by Kaz. With all this gear, I won't look like some weak pushover anymore. Without hesitation, Kang Do-hun equipped it all immediately. He was itching for a fight. All right, time to head to the main continent. The system complied with his wish. You will be teleported to Raven, the first city on the main continent, in a moment. Once you set foot on the main continent, you will be unable to return. A blue energy portal opened, and a countdown began. 5. Kang Do-hun turned to look at the town one last time. He had only just left yesterday, without getting the chance to say a proper goodbye to anyone, his companions for this stage, Tops Yubi, Ingong, and Mikan. He offered them a silent thank you. Still, I was starting to get a little attached to them. I feel a bit of regret. The clock didn't wait, continuing its countdown. 2. Kang Do-hun brushed the thought aside. Oh well, If we're fated to, we'll definitely meet again. He then stepped through the portal just as the system announced, initiating transfer to the main continent. Do-hun was teleported to the main gate of a large plaza. All the players who had completed their training in Arda were filled with great expectations. As they took their first steps onto the main continent, everyone was chatting happily with one another. He also noticed how different this was from ARDE, which was divided into separate servers by country. This was a place where players from all over the world gathered to form parties. Looking at the scenery before him and the challenges that awaited, Kang Do-hun was ready to take the first step of his journey in Raven, the starting city. Suddenly, a soldier shouted, "Everyone, make way! The Knights of Raven have returned after successfully completing their mission." Along with them, a man in chains was being escorted. "Let me go, now!" a soldier yelled. "Stay still, you shameless bastard." The system then displayed a notification for Do-hun. Upon entering the main continent, previously locked systems will be unlocked. The benefits for new beginners will officially disappear. Instead, you can experience many other features, such as the arena, friendly duels, and crafting workshops. Raven is the city that symbolizes the start of a new journey. We wish you an enjoyable adventure on this new stage unfolding on the main continent. Pro tip: if you become the victim of a crime within the city of Raven, do not hesitate to report it to the city guard. After reading the message, Kang Do-hun was a little surprised. They weren't kidding when they said the real game only begins once you reach the main continent. Suddenly, a portly man approached and called out to him, "Hey brother, come try our beer, a famous specialty of Raven. That red outfit really suits you." A seafood shop owner and a professional-looking chef also came over to invite him. "When you have time, please visit our shop. I'll be sure to give you lots of freebies." For a man, there's nothing better than a hot bowl of capybara soup. Kang Do-hun sighed and thought, "Now I understand why so many people forget all about hunting, just to spend their time sightseeing in this city." He unconsciously replied, "That's amazing," but he had a main mission to complete. Do-hun slapped his face to snap out of it. "Gotta get serious. I can enjoy all this later." Kang Do-hun drew his sword, thinking, "Alright, I guess I'll go for a quick hunt first." Although they were only goblins, he cut them all down. Kang Do-hun was now on the Raven Plains, fighting off some goblins that were blocking his path. The system was busy tallying points, activating the warrior set attribute. Receives the intimidation effect when facing goblin-type monsters. Deals an additional 7% damage to all goblin types. All stats increased by 2 points. Kang Do-hun's power grew stronger and stronger. He thought confidently, "There's no better set of gear for dealing with these goblins." The system even analyzed the goblins for him, imposing the intimidation effect on the enemy thanks to the warrior set attribute. The green goblin's fighting spirit completely crumbled. Kang Do-hun prepared and unleashed his power slash skill. Without much effort, he sliced the entire group of goblins to pieces in an instant. The system tallied the points again, dealt additional damage due to the effect of the warrior set. "You've taken down the red goblin. You've successfully eliminated the green goblin." After a while, Kang Do-hun's feet had barely touched the ground for more than 10 seconds. His speed was so immense they couldn't even land a single counterattack. Instead, a whole pile of them were wiped out. The system added points to his item. The greatsword's attack power increased after finishing off an enemy. Kang Do-hun grinned with delight. This feeling was exhilarating. This warrior set is truly top tier. He thought to himself, this set already has incredibly high base stats, and on top of that, it gets an additional 7% bonus damage. It's a weapon that grows stronger with every hunt. This constant string of good luck felt like hitting the jackpot. It was amazing. The feeling of steamrolling these low-level mobs was absolutely fantastic. Kang Do-hun looked at his status window and smiled. "I'm completing my quest smoothly, too. Just a little more effort, and I'll level up in no time." Suddenly, his hunter's instincts flared up when he sensed something was wrong. "What is that?" He glanced over to see an invisible figure rushing toward him, dagger in hand. Kang Do-hun found it strange. A human? The figure lunged, intending to stab Kang Do-hun, thinking, "Isn't that the warrior armor set? There's no better prey than a rich newbie." The dagger in his hand faltered for a second, so Do-hun just stood his ground as the man lunged forward like a flash. Thanks for the feast. But he never expected that Kang Do-hun could block his attack just by tilting his sword. His invisibility was broken. Kang Do-hun's killing intent surged. He glared at him and said, "What the hell is this?" Seeing that Kang Do-hun had the upper hand, the assassin leaped back. He hadn't expected him to have accomplices. "What do you think you're doing, you bastards? Finish him off now." From above, Chi-eon fired a volley of arrows, but quick as a flash, he slashed both arrows out of the air. Another guy wielding an axe also charged in wildly. Do-hun blocked the attack with his sword and threw him to the side. As fast as lightning, he twisted his grip on the sword and cut the man down on the spot, giving him no chance to dodge. Chi-eon and the assassin were stunned by the sight. Damn it. The assassin gritted his teeth. desperate to escape. This is insane, he thought. How could a newbie be this strong? But unfortunately for him, Do-hun had already activated a skill. A mark has been placed on the target. The moment he turned back, Kang Do-hun was already standing right in front of him, waiting. Kang Do-hun merely rested the greatsword on his shoulder, but his aura was overwhelming, like a god of the underworld had risen. He chuckled and greeted him warmly. Are you lost? To Do-hun, no matter where you went, there were always people who refused to listen, and the world of gaming was no exception. The arena scene that appeared wasn't for official duels, but for illegal killings. In other words, they were called PKers, or player killers. They existed in Demrock, and now they were running rampant in Ghost of Xavier. Some did it for fun, some did it to rob people, and others did it to vent their anger. But no matter the reason, if you were to ask who the most despised type of player was, 9 out of 10 people would say it was those who prey on new players. Seeing veteran players ganging up on a newbie, Kang Do-hun figured they usually target players who have just left the beginner's village, kill them, and steal all of their assets just like the guy standing in front of him. At that moment, a cruel glint flashed in his eyes. He smiled and asked warmly again, "Are you lost?" The man's system announced that the mark placed on the target had disappeared. The assassin looked up in terrified confusion. A backstab skill? His eyes filled with fear. How the hell can a swordsman use backstab? In a single moment, that guy was eliminated from the game. Kang Do-hun's system announced that you have eliminated the player named Assassin. You have eliminated the player named Chi-eon. And so, Kang Do-hun continued his purge. The notifications kept ringing. You have defeated the player named Can't Hit Me. These players have been classified by the system as evildoers. Your actions have been determined to be legitimate self-defense. Your karma points will not increase. After reading that, he thought, this part works exactly like it did in Demrock. Kang Do-hun's gaze was strangely calm. Perhaps all the perks for newbies were just an exception. Do-hun thought back to his old comrades and how the people there were also unusually kind. He then compared them to the scumbags he had just defeated, now lying scattered on the ground. But the reality here is that this place is always filled with terrible people like this. Holding the item in his hand, Kang Do-hun didn't give it much more thought. Anyway, I'll set that aside for now. First, I need to go claim my quest rewards. The system chimed in. You have completed the Goblin Extermination quest. Your rewards are 70 silver and experience points. You have completed the Hunter's Request quest. You receive an additional 80 silver, experience points, and a beast necklace. Your level has increased. You have reached level 17. The path to the west gate is now open. The final gate had finally opened. He smiled, a triumphant look on his face. Finally, I've made it to the west gate. Kang Do-hun scanned his surroundings, identifying the area as the western forest of Javan. He gathered information from others and learned that this was a hunting ground that even NPCs were wary of and warned others about. He figured this place was the complete opposite of the sprawling fields of the East Gate. This place was a dense forest with a suffocatingly limited field of view. It wasn't just crawling with goblins, but also teeming with giant insects. There were surprise ambushes from goblins, scenes of other warriors fighting off goblins and giant wasps, and insect attacks from blind spots between rock crevices and tree trunks. Do-hun knew exactly what this place was like before he even arrived. For that reason, the difficulty of the western forest was absolutely brutal, holding even more mysteries, and that was slowly becoming the standard. And naturally, an unwritten rule had formed in this place, which was that you must form a party with at least 3 members or more. That's why the area in front of the west gate was always packed with people. At that moment, right in front of the west gate of Javan City, a large number of players were bustling about, busily gathering to form parties. They were shouting for others to join them. Looking for members, we have 1 tank and 2 damage dealers waiting. Someone else was calling out, need 1 more melee DPS. One person was saying, I really need some help to get through this area. Another team was stuck, causing their party leader to rack his brain in frustration. Our group is just missing a single healer. There are seriously so few healers. The blonde man standing next to him crossed his arms, looking a bit annoyed. Healer class players are a rare breed. Not many people enjoy playing that class, and it's incredibly tough to level up. The big, dark-haired guy suddenly pointed towards the gate. Hey, get a load of that guy, he sneered. Another fool. Just walked right in. There are always a few guys like him. Kang Do-hun's silhouette stood out so much among the crowd that they noticed him even from a distance. The guy with light brown hair also judged him with contempt. Unbelievable. Even the top rankers have to party up to enter the western forest. They huddled together, bad-mouthing him. Who does he think he is, going in alone? Kang Do-hun heard everything, but just scoffed at them. Now, in the middle of the dense, desolate forest, with the sky covered in red, a clean slash against a goblin shattered the silence. The system announced, you have defeated a red forest goblin. Kang Do-hun just charged forward with his greatsword in hand. Wherever he swung, goblins fell. One jumped down from above, but unfortunately for it, he had already planted his sword in the ground and flipped behind it. Then, using just one leg, he kicked it far into the distance. The goblin tumbled several times and nearly face-planted into the dirt. It struggled to get back up. But as luck would have it, before it could do anything, he slashed it out of existence. Suddenly, he sensed something flying at him from behind. Kang Do-hun turned and swung his sword, slicing the arrow. The goblin archer in the tree was momentarily startled by his sharp reflexes. Before it could escape, he had already lunged at it with his greatsword. The massive blade flew by, slicing its upper body clean off. Looking back, only its lower half remained in a charging stance. The greatsword fell to the ground with the force of the swing. Countless more red goblins appeared from out of nowhere. Seeing that he no longer had a weapon in his hand, the system issued a critical alert. The effects of the warrior set have been disabled. They charged at him recklessly like a horde. Kang Do-hun handled the situation calmly. For trash mobs like these, there's no need to use a full equipment set. He still had an axe in his hand. The system announced, weapon restrictions have been lifted thanks to the Weapon Master title. Basic weapon skills have been unlocked due to the Adventurer trait. Skill unlocked, currently casting, Backstab. He charged forward, faster than the speed of light. In an instant, he was right behind the goblin. He finished it off with a single, clean slash. The system announced, you have used the basic axe skill, Pulverize. The other goblins charged forward in waves. He didn't move, but stood his ground. With just one hand, Kang Do-hun swung the axe and wiped them all out. Each goblin was cut down with a single stroke. Kang Do-hun laughed with satisfaction. Using an axe feels pretty damn good. The system chimed in. You have defeated another red forest goblin. Continuous kill notifications from the system. You have defeated another red forest goblin. The image of the red goblins lying pathetically on the ground. The system displayed his level-up stats. Your axe mastery has increased to level 2. He walked over to pick up his greatsword. Kang Do-hun checked his stats, items, and rewards. He smiled. All right, so the goblin hunt is done. Now, time to find that pendant. And before he could finish his thought, Do-hun sensed danger and turned around. A giant monster centipede had suddenly appeared. It roared, spewing slime everywhere. Kang Do-hun's expression turned grim for a moment. This is bad. The surrounding scenery was unusually chaotic. Birds flew frantically in all directions. The forest centipede was now charging madly. It was aiming straight for Kang Do-hun. Seeing this, he let out a roar. Without a moment's hesitation, Kang Do-hun drew his sword in a flash. A red glint appeared in his eyes as he glanced at the forest centipede. At that very moment, its eyes also glowed red as it roared. Kang Do-hun didn't hesitate and swung his sword down hard on the forest centipede's body. Instantly, it spat a strange liquid from its mouth and crashed into the ground, creating a deafening sound. Kang Do-hun was still on guard, staring it down, when suddenly the forest centipede lurched back up, its fiery eyes fixed on him. Kang Do-hun was slightly startled by this. Before he could react, the forest centipede lunged to attack Do-hun. Luckily, he managed to raise his sword in time to block it. Kang Do-hun stared it down with a serious expression. Suddenly, Kang Do-hun summoned another weapon and said with annoyance, "You're ugly and you're filthy. Why do you keep shoving that face of yours at me?" With that, he struck the forest centipede right in the face. It roared in pain. Seizing the opportunity, he took aim at it and then delivered a critical blow. After this slash, it showed no more signs of life and collapsed to the ground. Immediately, a series of notifications appeared in the system. You have defeated a giant forest centipede. Your sword mastery has increased to level 10. You have leveled up. Kang Do-hun let out a sharp breath, planting his sword firmly in the ground. The system window kept flashing. Player Kang Do-hun, level 19. Health, 170,350. Class, Ultimate Adventurer. Titles, 3. Maximum favorability from the start. First Slaughterer. Golden King of the Speedrun. Strength, 35 plus 38. Agility, 35 plus 37. Stamina, 5 plus 37. Perception, 22 plus 36. Mana, 5 plus 34. So I've gained 2 levels. Kang Do-hun looked thoughtfully at the notification window before him. Even though the process was pretty tough, this leveling speed could be considered quite decent. Most of the quests were now resolved. He rested his chin on his hand, thinking, now all that's left is. The system sent a new notification, Lost Pendant, Rank, Common Plus. Description. This is a request from Camila. A mischievous cat has stolen the little girl's precious pendant. Please help her find it in the area outside the west gate. Lost Pendant. Quantity, 1. Completion reward, 1 gold, a certain amount of experience, and a small gift from Camila. Failure penalty. Camila's favorability may decrease. Time remaining, 1 minute and 24 seconds. Kang Do-hun was surprised to receive this quest. This was the only quest with a common plus rank. Upon receiving it, Kang Do-hun said nonchalantly, "Actually, this quest isn't exactly difficult at all. Its location is already clearly marked on the map, so all I have to do is simply go there and pick it up." With that, he left. The next day, sounds of chatter and announcements filled the air. "All right, everyone, please form a neat line. We're all in a hurry, so no cutting is allowed." Suddenly, a man shouted aggressively, "Hey, stop shoving people like that." The person he was facing retorted, "I didn't push you. What are you talking about?" Kang Do-hun looked around doubtfully. "Isn't that tree over there where the pendant is supposed to show up?" Luckily, the line isn't as long as I thought, because if it were any more crowded, I'd probably be waiting forever for my turn. Suddenly, Do-hun heard voices echoing from a distance. "Hey, have you heard about the killer who's been targeting low-level hunters?" He immediately glanced over, his attention drawn to two men standing not far from him. "You mean that damn assassin? I know about him. He was running wild, so it's only natural he's paying the price now." Hearing the dark-haired man, the blonde one replied, "I heard he's always rambling on about someone named Kang Do-hun, right?" Hearing this, Kang Do-hun frowned and thought to himself, "Why is my name being dragged into this?" Meanwhile, the two men, unaware of Kang Do-hun's presence, continued their discussion. "Is that guy even real? He's probably just some crazy fan. I mean, he keeps bragging about a swordsman who can use an assassin's stealth stab skill. Who would believe something so ridiculous? Only an idiot would fall for such a wild story." Standing behind them, he heard the two men say that and grew a little worried, thinking, "Maybe I should just keep quiet and lay low for a while." Do-hun's gaze lowered in thought. A swordsman who can master assassin skills and, on top of that, possesses 6 different traits? The major guilds would never leave someone like that alone. He started thinking about the worst-case scenarios. Some factions would try to recruit him, and the number of people who'd want to eliminate him before he becomes a threat would surely be even greater, especially if the top guilds have many former members of Team Rock. If they can't have you, they'll do whatever it takes to destroy you. That's just how they operate. After resting for a while, Kang Do-hun found the necklace, and a system window quickly appeared. Do-hun clutched the pendant in his hand. It was still too early to reveal himself. The scene changes to Javen, where a clear voice suddenly rang out. "Oh, wonderful. This is my necklace. Thank you so much. If it weren't for your help, I probably would have never found it again." Camilla's eyes sparkled with gratitude as she looked at him. At the same time, the system announced that you have successfully completed the Lost Pendant quest. Your reward is 1 gold coin and a certain amount of experience points. Along with a small gift from Camilla, you have leveled up. You have reached level 20 and have been awarded 1 random skill draw ticket. Suddenly, Camilla presented a box to Kang Do-hun. She spoke softly. "This is my most treasured possession, but you've been so kind, so I want you to have it." The system immediately provided an analysis of Camilla's small gift. Camilla has a hobby of collecting strange items. This is a random box containing the most valuable item in her collection. No one knows what is actually inside. Seeing this, Do-hun bent down and gently patted the little girl's head. "All right, thank you. Be more careful next time, and don't lose it again." Hearing this, Camilla obediently replied, "Okay, thank you so much." Her face couldn't hide her happiness. Suddenly, the system spammed him with numerous notifications. Current affinity is increasing dramatically. Camilla's affinity for you has skyrocketed. After giving the necklace to Camilla, Kang Do-hun left. "Goodbye." He turned back slightly and smiled at the little girl. It's probably because she's so young that her affinity is so easy to raise, he thought to himself as he walked. All right, time to tackle the next quest. The system then sent him a new quest. Kang Do-hun thought to himself, the reward includes a skill draw ticket, so there's no way I can pass up a sweet deal like this. Kang Do-hun recalled the scene. When it comes to dungeons at the West Gate, these two are the most prominent, the Goblin Chieftain's Lair and the Ant Tunnel. His gaze darkened slightly. Considering the warrior set I'm wearing, the Goblin Dungeon would be more advantageous. But the tricky part is, both of them are dungeons that require a party. If I can help it, I'd rather not show off my special abilities too soon. At that moment, at the Goblin Chieftain's Lair, people were shouting, "Looking for a mage! Fire mages preferred, level 20 and above only, buying all sorts of items at the best market price. On-site weapon repairs here. Anyone need repairs?" Kang Do-hun arrived and scanned the area. Even the crafting class players are all gathered here. Just then, a man approached a warrior and said, "I'm a rogue." The warrior immediately rejected him. "Our group doesn't accept rogues. Please, know your place." Another warrior overheard and retorted, "Isn't it enough that we all share the same goal of killing the Goblin Chieftain?" But the first man was adamant. "No, it'd be better if you just weren't here." Just then, over by Mikan's group, people were surrounding someone, pleading, "Mage, please join our party. We're all level 20 and fully geared. Please join us." "Come with us, miss." Seeing this, Kang Do-hun assessed the situation. It looks like they're just lurking around, scouting for mages. It's understandable. In Ghost of Seven, a class's value is determined by the boss's traits. In this dungeon, at least, mages are the true kings and gods. The problem are also considered useless here, so no one gives them the time of day. At this thought, his face fell. Suddenly, a friendly voice called out, "Hey, brother in the warrior set, if you haven't found a party you like, you want to do a run with us?" Kang Do-hun stared blankly at the man before him. "You do know I'm just a swordsman, right?" Basta W Amazing Holy Knight, and the mage smiled at Kang Do-hun. "Of course, we know. Our speed is already high, but we're going on a run." Since this was for a quest, his character class didn't really matter. He thought intently, something isn't right here. Should I just play along with them and see what happens? With that thought, Kang Do-hun scratched his head and looked at them. "If you guys agree to let me tag along, I'd really appreciate it." Hearing this, Bastard immediately replied, "All right then, I'll send you a party invite right now." A notification immediately popped up. A party with the player Bastard has been formed. The information appeared right before Kang Do-hun's eyes. Party, Bastard, level 24, Amazing Holy Knight, level 24, R, level 24, Kang Do-hun, level 20. Kang Do-hun frowned, thinking, these guys, they've definitely figured out my real identity. Flashing back to before Bastard met Kang Do-hun, he looked at him suspiciously. "Is that really him?" Amazing Holy Knight replied. "Kang Do-hun, the one in the battle armor carrying a greatsword." The mage also quickly chimed in. "It's definitely him. There's no one else around here who looks like that, right?" After hearing this, Bastard grinned slyly. Indeed, that kind of gear is a rare sight. After Kang Do-hun accepted their invitation, the group headed into the cave. The system then introduced the lair of the rare goblin chief. The description read that he was once a brave warrior and a legend among the Green Goblin tribe. But after being cursed, he left his tribe and took up residence here. Party limit, 4 people. Level limit, level 24 and below. Do-hun's group ventured deeper inside. Everywhere they went, goblin corpses were scattered about. At the same time, a notification rang out. Red Goblin Scout has been eliminated. The scout's death has been reported to the chief. After wiping out a wave, Bastard spoke smugly. "Easy. This is a piece of cake." Standing next to him, Amazing Holy Knight chimed in. "Yeah, it's as easy as pie." Standing behind them, Kang Do-hun silently assessed the situation. Not bad. Their power levels are pretty stable, and their teamwork is solid. Suddenly, the system announced. The chief is frightened and has started deploying his soldiers. "Everyone, prepare for battle." As he finished speaking, from deep within the cave, glowing red eyes stared back at the group. Bastard confidently said to him, "Can you handle this round?" Amazing Holy Knight also smiled at him. "If it looks dangerous, we'll jump in to help right away." The mage then added, "Just think of this as a chance to practice teamwork. Give it a shot, and if anything happens, we'll help you out." Kang Do-hun's icy gaze swept over the 3 of them. "So, you want to test my skills, is that it? Fine, I'll play along for a bit." With that thought, he slowly walked forward and drew his sword. In a flash, Kang Do-hun charged straight in. The system announced that the skill charging slash had been used. In an instant, the goblins fell one after another. Witnessing this, Bastard smirked. "It's really him." Amazing Holy Knight added, "We found the right guy." Suddenly, Bastard asked Amazing Holy Knight, "What do you think?" He replied, "Not bad." Amazing Holy Knight evaluated his every move. He's good at dodging fatal blows, and even while carrying a greatsword, his speed is still pretty fast. Bastard watched thoughtfully from a distance. With gear like that, he doesn't have to fear a single soul in this area. Suddenly, Amazing Holy Knight spoke up. "But, something still feels off to me." Bastard looked at him, confused. "Off how?" he asked. The man then offered his analysis. "You're telling me an assassin was taken down by a guy who just relies on his gear like that? High damage and fast speed? I'll give him that. But assassin is one of the top-tier PvP classes. They even have stealth and paralyzing poison, yet they still lost in a 3-on-1 fight?" Standing behind them, the mage cut in. "Why are you overthinking it? Our job is just to take care of him. Anyway." Hearing this, Bastard patted Amazing Holy Knight on the shoulder. "He's right. Let's just finish this quickly. Once this job is done, our debt is settled." Hearing this, the man smiled slyly. "Okay, shall we get started then?" Bastard gave a warning. "Remember to keep your expression in check. Just act normal." Amazing Holy Knight replied confidently, "Don't worry about that." Meanwhile, Kang Do-hun was still seriously dealing with the goblins. Seeing this, Amazing Holy Knight pretended to run over. "Kang Do-hun, you're amazing." Bastard also approached to play along. "We only invited you to be on the safe side, but I get the feeling you could have handled this whole place by yourself." Kang Do-hun saw this and decided to play along as well. "It's nothing, really. Everyone here is skilled. After all, Bastard continued the act. How did you guys manage to recruit someone so good? It's all thanks to my keen eye for talent. Standing to one side, Kang Do-hun saw their faces and silently judged them. To leave a party member to fight alone and still have the nerve to put on such a shameless act. He stared intently at Bastard. Depending on the situation, they might just abandon me, and if I die, they'll definitely strip me of all my gear. Immediately, Bastard smiled and exclaimed, "All right, that's enough of a break. Shall we continue? Let's go." Kang Do-hun replied flatly, "Sounds good." Amazing Holy Knight chimed in. "Awesome," Bastard thought insidiously to himself. "I'll quietly get rid of you when I get the chance." Kang Do-hun looked back at him with determination. That won't be so easy. Before long, the group advanced deeper. They split up to clear out the goblins. Kang Do-hun unleashed a powerful aura as he annihilated the surrounding goblins. Suddenly, a conflict arose between Bastard and the mage. They whispered to each other, "Hey, aim properly, will you?" "No, I definitely aimed correctly." But that goblin suddenly moved. It seemed the three of them were trying to eliminate Do-hun, or was he just lucky? Kang Do-hun also played along with the three of them. "I intentionally left my back exposed, and they still couldn't do anything. Maybe I should wait a little longer?" Just then, the system sent a notification. The boss gate has opened. The door in front of them slowly creaked open. The goblin chief has discovered the intruders. A powerful aura emanated toward the group. The elite Red Goblin army is trying to block the enemy's path. Red Goblin Elite Soldier, Elite Monster Title, Goblin Type, Tenacious Trait. Description: among the Red Goblin soldiers, these are the most well-trained elite units. Elite goblins with hideous teeth appeared. They gathered momentum and charged straight at Bastard's group. Panicking, he yelled, "Kang Do-hun, can you deal with these elite soldiers for a moment? After that, we'll..." Before he could finish his sentence, the elite goblins were already upon them. When Bastard couldn't see Kang Do-hun, he screamed, "Kang Do-hun!" Bastard's face was contorted with frustration. What the hell? Where did that bastard disappear to? Amazing Holy Knight also cried out in panic. "Hey, did he figure it out?" Suddenly, the mage pointed forward. "Look ahead!" Startled, Bastard looked up. The elite goblins had already reached them, forcing Bastard to charge forward and block them. Seeing this, Amazing Holy Knight also rushed in to help. He yelled out, "I'll hold it off. Everyone, finish it quickly." The mage heard him and quickly replied, "Got it." But before she could even react, a giant object came crashing down towards her. The mage's eyes widened at the sight before her. A massive foot appeared from the doorway as the Goblin Chief emerged. Goblin Chief, a rare dungeon boss. Type, Goblin. Traits: cowardly, defensive, selfish, vengeful. Description: a goblin carrying the blood of the greatest ancient goblin war god. However, over time, that bloodline has weakened, and he cannot hide his cowardly nature, and can't even control his own weight. Despite this, he is still the leader of this tribe, one who can fly into a rage for the sake of his comrades. Amazing Holy Knight struggled to say, "We'll draw its attention first, so while we do, you should." Suddenly, the mage stammered in shock. That bastard, how could he? From behind, Kang Do-hun slowly approached them. Bastard's group turned their eyes toward him. The killer, Kang Do-hun, broke into a sinister smile. "You're his friends, aren't you?" At that moment, the mage spoke up in a panic. "Wait, hold on. It's true we're enemies, but at least let's clear this dungeon together first. After all, we have to cooperate to pass this stage." Kang Do-hun's expression didn't change as he spoke nonchalantly. "Well, that does sound reasonable." Her face turned pale as she looked at him. "Yes, exactly. Let's just focus on clearing the dungeon first." Kang Do-hun said nothing. His eyes glowed red as he thrust his blade straight through her body. He shot Bastard's group a look of utter contempt. "But I don't feel like it." The system immediately displayed a series of notifications. "You have defeated the player Supreme Mage. This player has been identified as a villain, so your karma stat will not increase." Kang Do-hun shouldered his sword and scoffed, thinking to himself, "I knew it. This whole group is just a bunch of butchers." He then quickly teleported out of their encirclement. "Good thing I used backstab to hide beforehand." Hiding behind a rock, Kang Do-hun observed them in secret. "I had a hunch, but I didn't expect this skill to even work on a corpse." Seeing this, Bastard roared, "You psycho. You actually killed the mage? Do you want us all to get wiped out here?" He smirked sarcastically. "Do you people know what my motto is?" Bastard looked back, a bit confused. "What?" Kang Do-hun flicked his wrist, summoning a dagger. "I never work with backstabbing pieces of trash who are just waiting for a chance to strike," he added with a cruel smile. "Cooperating with people like that will only lead to a rotten end." Bastard's face paled in astonishment. That's the assassin kid's dagger. How the hell do you have it?" Kang Do-hun casually waved the dagger. He retorted, "It belonged to your friend, so of course you'd recognize it, huh? You knew it at a single glance. Bastard couldn't believe it and exclaimed, "This is unbelievable! How can a swordsman even use that weapon?" "No, forget that. What do you plan to do with it?" Bastard threatened through gritted teeth as he parried an elite goblin's sword. "If you kill us, do you really think you can clear this mission alone?" Thinking of the goblin chief, his voice grew heavy. "Do you even know what the goblin chief's defense skill actually blocks? It nullifies all physical attacks." At this, Bastard scoffed in frustration. "That's why in this dungeon, a mage is essential. What can a guy like you do with that puny little dagger?" In response, Kang Do-hun just said flatly, "Status effects." Hearing that, he froze, full of doubt. "What?" Kang Do-hun raised the dagger with a mocking smile. "Did you guys think status effects are just for show?" That smile made Bastard freeze up. "Are you insane? You're planning to kill that goblin with just the trashy bleed effect on that weapon?" A cunning glint appeared in his eyes. "If it were just a normal bleed, you'd be right, it wouldn't be enough." Seeing that look, Bastard blurted out, "What?" As soon as the word left his mouth, Kang Do-hun was already a blur. In a flash, he zipped past the two members of Bastard's party. Even so, Bastard cursed angrily, "What the hell is this tiny bit of damage going to do?" But before he could finish, a notification window popped up. "The stat difference is too great. Activating the assassin's dagger effect." The system displayed another message. "Target is now suffering from the bleeding status effect. Damage is greatly amplified due to the overwhelming stat difference. HP has dropped below 50%. Bastard, who was coughing up blood, froze when he heard this. "Overwhelming stat difference? My level is higher, so what does that even mean?" He looked desperately at Kang Do-hun, wondering, even if he has amazing gear, I'm level 24, and he's only level 20. Just how massive does the stat gap have to be for a bleed effect to be this terrifyingly strong? Sensing his gaze, he thought to himself, "You wouldn't understand. I got this bleed skill from a level 20 gacha ticket." At the same time, another information window appeared. "Bleed, rare rank, requires rogue class. Effect applies on the next successful attack. After using the skill, inflict bleeding status for 10 seconds. If there is a large stat difference with the target, the effect may be reduced, and the duration and damage will be adjusted accordingly. Cooldown, 15 seconds. Kang Do-hun mused with some surprise. The fact that it can stack is pretty unexpected. He seemed lost in his own thoughts. It's just like in an RPG or a MOBA. Status effects usually don't stack if they're from the same class. Suddenly, Kang Do-hun looked up with a smug grin. "But who would have ever guessed that someone like me would be using a swindler's skill on an assassin's weapon? Who could have known?" Just then, Bastard managed to speak up. "What the hell kind of bleeding is this? It's a hack." He clutched his wound weakly and demanded, "You're a hacker, aren't you?" As soon as he finished speaking, Bastard collapsed. A notification followed. "You have defeated the player Bastard. This player has been identified as a villain, so your karma stat will not increase. You have eliminated one red goblin elite." He let out a weary sigh and thought, "Seriously, these guys always say the same damn thing." As he was thinking, Amazing Holy Knight's roar suddenly echoed. He gritted his teeth in fury, cursing under his breath. "Damn it." He looked at the two cold corpses of his comrades. Amazing Holy Knight frantically wondered why things had turned out this way. "Where did I go wrong?" As if realizing something, he suddenly froze in horror. "No, from the very beginning, we should have never gotten involved with him." Just as Amazing Holy Knight was scheming, a sharp blade suddenly flashed past him. "I have to escape." In an instant, Kang Do-hun had already swept past his body. Amazing Holy Knight coughed up a spray of blood as a system window appeared, showing that he was suffering from the bleeding status effect. Damage is greatly amplified due to the overwhelming stat difference. Then, the system showed his HP dropping below 10%. Seeing this, he was stunned and wondered, "What?" A moment later, the Amazing Holy Knight collapsed, followed by a system notification. "You have defeated the player Amazing Holy Knight." This was followed by a series of pop-up messages. "This player has been identified as an evildoer, so your karma will not increase. You have defeated a red goblin elite." Kang Do-hun just coldly posed a question to himself. "The damage is pretty decent, I guess. After all, I did pour a full 15 points into strength. I hope it was worth it." In another corner, the goblin chieftain was watching him. Seeing the corpse of its comrade, it let out a low growl. Then, the goblin chieftain suddenly let out a roar, and a notification followed. The goblin chieftain is enraged by the death of its subordinate. The roar immediately caught Kang Do-hun's attention. Watching it charge at him frantically, he thought with a sigh, "I almost forgot that guy was still here." A glint of interest suddenly flashed in Kang Do-hun's eyes. "Alright, let's have a little fun." In the blink of an eye, the goblin chieftain's massive body closed in on him, but Do-hun instantly twisted away to dodge. He launched himself into the air and landed a solid kick. The goblin chieftain yelped in pain, and as he watched its body topple over, Kang Do-hun gave a faint, triumphant smile. Just as Kang Do-hun landed, the goblin chieftain crashed to the ground, but his eyes suddenly widened in shock. Hidden in the swirling dust were a pair of glowing, golden pupils. The moment it sprang back up, a crimson notification appeared. Goblin chieftain's defensive skill has been activated. Without pausing for a second, Do-hun swung his sword and lunged. He dashed past it, a chilling arc of blade energy tearing through the creature's massive body. The system continuously displayed the status effect. HP has dropped below 40%. HP has dropped below 30%. The creature suddenly whipped around, its eyes filled with a mixture of fear and rage fixed on Kang Do-hun. He gave a wicked grin and clicked his tongue. Let's end this here. Sensing the overwhelming killing intent, the goblin chieftain let out a terrified shriek. Without a second thought, it panicked and turned to run. Kang Do-hun frowned slightly and activated his skill. Meanwhile, the goblin chieftain was fleeing in a panic, but in the blink of an eye, he had caught up to it. Kang Do-hun smirked and chuckled contemptuously. Where do you think you're going? That look on his face made it screech in terror, leaving nothing but a bright red splatter of blood on the cliff wall. With a loud thud, the system window appeared again. You have defeated the dungeon boss, the Goblin King. Congratulations, you have cleared the dungeon. Achievement recorded in the adventure log. You have leveled up. A flood of information appeared. Dagger Mastery has reached level 5. Goblin King's super durable leather belt. Rarity. Rare. Requires level 20. Restrictions. None. The description read, the leather belt of the Goblin King. Made incredibly sturdy to hold up his massive gut. He held the belt up excitedly. Sweet. This is a pretty nice drop. I needed a belt too. Perfect timing. Without hesitation, Kang Do-hun interacted with the screen. Goblin King's super durable leather belt. Unequipping will reduce stamina by 1 point. Strength increases by 1 point. Stamina increases by 2 points. Seeing the result, he smiled with satisfaction. Not bad at all. If I were concerned with speed, I might have even made it onto the rankings. Oh well, not every dungeon is a time attack, and not every place is meant to be speedrun. Anyway. But then, Kang Do-hun suddenly turned and looked back. It's a bit of a waste, but, gazing at the sparkling shield, he mused, I still have all the stuff that dropped from those other players. The system window lit up before his eyes. Acquired player drop. Silver shield. A shield forged from silver iron, an extremely rare ore. Rarity, rare. Requires level 20. Restriction, shield warrior class. Special effect. Damage reduction increases based on the amount of divine power absorbed. Do-hun remarked with delight. A rare item, huh? These guys must have paid a pretty penny for this. The notification in front of him changed. Bastard's training sword. The iron sword used by the hero Bastard to train his sword speed. Rarity, rare, requires level 20. Restriction, swordsman class. Special effect, a chance to activate a minor speed boost when attacking. Seeing this, his eyes darted over curiously. Bastard's training sword? Huh. Remembering that guy's face, Kang Do-hun let out a sarcastic laugh. Such a hardcore role player. Well, that name is meaningless now. Shaking his head, he pushed the thought aside and started doing some math. I'll just sell these items for cash. Just then, the system notified him again, catching his attention. Divine Eye skill has been activated. Noticing a bright red glow in the distance, he wondered skeptically, what's that over there? Curious, Kang Do-hun walked deeper into the cave. An invisibility skill? No, the light is too strong for that. A rare medicinal herb, perhaps? Right then, the system updated. You have discovered a hidden dungeon. Lair of the Dark Goblin Mage. Before him was a deep, gaping portal. You are the first to discover this hidden dungeon. You have received the title, Accomplished Explorer. Kang Do-hun repeated, slightly stunned. A hidden dungeon? A flood of information instantly surfaced in his mind. There were many types of dungeons in this game, from party dungeons and solo boss raids to labyrinths, and even special or event dungeons. An image of a heavily chained door flashed in his mind. But among all the dungeon types, the rarest and most obscure was the hidden dungeon. Kang Do-hun found himself drawn to the deep, dark portal before him. Even explorer-type classes struggled to find these, not just because they were hidden in the most absurd locations, but also because they had incredibly bizarre entry conditions. The light flickered, and the information on his screen instantly updated. Condition met. Only one survivor remains in the dungeon. Condition met. Not currently in a party. All conditions satisfied. He clicked his tongue in annoyance, cursing under his breath. This is insane. Look at these ridiculous requirements. Do-hun couldn't help but mutter to himself. In a dungeon designed for a party, you have to find a hidden passage all by yourself. Without being in a party, he chuckled, but inwardly, he couldn't help but add, with conditions like these, finding it is as good as not finding it at all. The light flickered, and the system displayed the dungeon's information. Lair of the Dark Goblin Mage. Grade: Heroic. Type: Hidden Dungeon. Feature: Solo Boss. Description: One day, rumors of a dark goblin in Jven gave rise to countless legends. Maximum participants: 1. Entry condition: must be the first to discover it. The dungeon will vanish once cleared and cannot be re-entered upon failure. Kang Do-hun smirked arrogantly. A heroic grade dungeon? I absolutely have to clear this. The famous words of Free, the 1279th ranked gamer, suddenly popped into his head. Stepping into a hidden dungeon is like willingly walking into the jaws of a beast. The comment section immediately exploded. What the hell is he saying? I have no idea. Is he saying it's that hard? So, it's basically a suicide run? Then why is everyone so obsessed with finding them? Do they all have a death wish or something? It's just a metaphor, but anyone who's ever experienced a hidden dungeon would have to agree with Free. What do you think happens when you stick your head in a beast's mouth? It'll crush you instantly. A hidden dungeon is exactly that, the mouth of a beast. All it has to do is open its maw and wait for prey to walk right in. The end result is the cold, hard gaze of a wild beast. On the other side, Kang Do-hun stepped through the gate. You have entered the dungeon. He was greeted by a gray orb hurtling toward him. The moment the orb struck, the system window popped up. You have been hit by the cursed orb, inflicting the blind eye effect. Amidst the heavy atmosphere, the system suddenly chimed in. Blind eye will narrow your vision for a period of time. Then came a series of notification sounds. The heroic nature trait allows you to resist mental collapse. The effects of blind eye have been completely removed. Despite that, Do-hun flashed a confident smile. What a harsh welcome. A gloomy voice suddenly rang out. How dare you enter my home without permission? You truly are a fearless human. Before him stood a group of goblin zombies. A second later, a notification popped up. Goblin zombies of the Dark Elf Sorcerer. Following them were countless giant spiders. Spider zombies of the Dark Elf Sorcerer. Kang Do-hun's brow furrowed instantly. So gross. The creature seemed to sense this and let out a laugh. It seems you're terrified at the sight of my children. As its face came into view, an information window appeared. Jiha Black. Title: Named Boss, Hero Rank. Race: Goblin. Traits: Special Bloodline, Curse Specialist, Necromancer, Nimble Fingers. Description: a survivor of a fallen tribe who inherited an elite bloodline. Jiha Black was a goblin who had lived for hundreds of years. Seeing this, he was a bit stunned and wondered. A named boss? The difficulty of a hidden dungeon is high, sure. But a named boss is on another level. Remembering that vicious dragon, Kang Do-hun silently calculated. The rewards for beating the demonic dragon were great. I wonder what's going to drop this time. Just then, the deep voice spoke again. But this is strange. How did a mere human find this place? Jiha laughed cruelly, remarking, I don't sense the chaotic aura of an explorer on you. You truly are a bizarre creature. Hearing this, he suddenly realized something. What? This goblin's got a sharp sense of smell, huh? Without hesitation, the creature unleashed its intimidating pressure. No matter how bizarre you are, once you've set foot in here, there's no escape. As if on cue, the horde of zombies charged at Do-hun. Unafraid, he opened his mouth to taunt the boss. You don't even seem a little bit tense, do you? Then let me teach you a lesson. Surrounded by zombies, Do-hun instantly activated a skill. When fighting a melee opponent, a ranged attacker should always be on high alert. A second later, he appeared right behind Jiha, startling him. Jiha immediately swung his arm, followed by a system notification. Activating skill, Corpse Control. Speed greatly increased due to the Nimble Fingers trait effect. The notification was accompanied by a violent explosion. Activating skill, Corpse Explosion. The billowing shockwave exploded, forcing him to brace himself to stay upright. As if seeing something unbelievable, Jiha's expression suddenly changed. He whipped around. Somehow, Kang Do-hun was now standing menacingly in the distance. In his hand was a blood-stained knife, a smug smile playing on his lips. The system immediately displayed a cold notification. You have been inflicted with the bleed effect. Jiha cried out in shock. Since when? Seeing that expression, Do-hun asked cheerfully. Surprised? I told you, you should pay more attention. That smile instantly enraged him. You little rat! Jiha swung his arm, summoning countless zombies. Let's see how long you can last. As swift as the wind, he leaped to the side, dodging in an instant. The boss didn't stop, continuously swinging his arms to raise more zombies. Meanwhile, Do-hun agilely dodged every attack. At the same time, he saw through Jiha's plan. I see it. Where he's aiming and where he plans to strike. Looking at that crazed face, Do-hun mused. And the entire scheme he's plotting. After just a moment, he was cornered. The boss's smile grew even more maniacal. This is the end. With a ping, a massive explosion erupted. Hidden dungeon boss Jiha Black is using his ultimate skill, Grand Corpse Explosion. Jiha laughed insanely, muttering, "Because you're such a rare specimen, I was planning to go easy on you, but you just had to go and seek your own death." Following the harsh sound from the system, Do-hun suddenly appeared right behind him. The mark had vanished. His gloomy voice echoed in Jiha's ear. "Did your skill miss?" The moment he finished speaking, Kang Do-hun's fist slammed straight into Jiha's face. The boss was sent flying into a cliff wall, letting out a horrific scream. Jiha coughed up blood, his body trembling in agony. Just as he was clutching his chest in pain, Kang Do-hun approached. His face, shrouded in shadow, radiated killing intent. Even so, he was still defiant. "You bastard. I'll definitely get my revenge." The words had barely left his mouth when Kang Do-hun landed a punch to his gut. He didn't stop there, continuing to swing as a barrage of punches rained down on Jiha's face. In just a moment, dozens of punches had been thrown. Just as Kang Do-hun was about to strike again, the boss suddenly cried out, "Wait!" Jiha Black clutched his bruised face and yelled, "Hey, did you just hit my bone?" "Hitting the bone is a dirty move." Hearing that, he raised an eyebrow in disbelief. "What kind of boss is this?" Meanwhile, the creature's whining continued. "My bones hurt so much." Kang Do-hun was a bit speechless, wondering to himself, "And this thing is supposed to be hero rank?" Recalling the earlier attack, he couldn't help but assess. The corpse explosion skill is strong, but besides that one move, he's just too weak. Seeing Kang Do-hun make a sudden move, Jiha flinched and trembled. Without hesitation, he immediately leaped backward. Watching this series of actions, he grew a little suspicious. He let out a dark laugh and sneered, "Foolish human. I was just waiting for you to let your guard down." Amidst the dark mist, a notification window appeared. Secret Dungeon Boss. Jiha Black activates Bloodline trait. The information above his head suddenly changed. Once Jiha awakens his bloodline, his stats will skyrocket. Kang Do-hun was startled, wondering, his stats are increasing? As if realizing something, his expression darkened. He might look pathetic, but going from hero rank to hero plus is a completely different story. Kang Do-hun quickly drew his sword, thinking to himself, because proper party raids all start from hero plus rank, I can't let him power up. Without hesitation, he bent his knees and shot forward. A series of notification windows then appeared. Strength increased by 20. The strength stat has surpassed 100. Kang Do-hun looked at the numbers before him and silently regretted it. I think I might have gone a bit overboard, putting all my points into strength. But with a ping, the system information changed again. The warrior set has been applied, dealing an additional 7% damage to goblin-type enemies. Without a moment's hesitation, he swung his sword. The spot where the boss had stood was now nothing but a cloud of swirling dust. A notification immediately popped up, filling his vision with text. Due to the berserk effect, the boss takes an additional 10% damage. Due to sword mastery, damage is increased by another 10%. Jiha's jaw dropped as he stammered, "This is completely absurd." A murderous glint flashed in Kang Do-hun's eyes. Before such destructive power, all things were equal. With just a single slash, he completely finished him off. After Jiha's tragic scream, the blue screen appeared again. "You have defeated the secret dungeon boss, Jiha Black." On the other side, a series of messages instantly popped up. "Congratulations, you have cleared the secret dungeon. Your achievement has been recorded in the adventure log." Symbols and numbers flashed continuously. "Because you are the first person to clear this dungeon, your rewards will be doubled. Your level has increased. You have received the dungeon clear reward." The item information appeared: Soulstone of the Goblin Sorcerer's Grudge, a versatile gem containing an aggrieved soul. Hero rank, requires level 30, mage class. Necromancer's Cloak of the Dark Goblin Sorcerer. The Dark Cloak of the Goblin Sorcerer is enchanted with an identity-disrupting charm, making it easy to remain anonymous. Hero rank, requires level 30, no class restriction. Special option, when the hood is pulled up, identity disruption mode is activated. Kang Do-hun let out a sigh of relief and admiration, just as expected from a hero rank item. The rewards are seriously amazing. I can't believe it dropped both a gem and an accessory. Despite his words, his voice still held a hint of dissatisfaction. The stats are a little hard to use, but hey, it's better than nothing, right? Just then, the screen changed again. Traces of a forgotten tribe. These are the remnants of a lost tribe. Its use is currently unknown. Kang Do-hun paused, full of doubt. Traces of a tribe? He thoughtfully stroked his chin. The rank is a question mark. Even in Demrock, unidentified items looked exactly like this. Kang Do-hun couldn't figure it out, so he gave up. Oh well, whatever. I'll find out eventually. As soon as he finished his thought, his eyes caught something at the bottom of the screen. The system was clearly displaying a strange card. Kang Do-hun wondered with some suspicion. A card? He fell deep into thought. It seems like God really invested a lot into its card system. It's not just for combining skills or enchanting. Even the bosses in the adventure log are saved in the form of cards. Kang Do-hun grinned brightly, murmuring his calculations. If it's a monster card, I can probably use it for crafting equipment. On the screen was its status. Card. Jiha Black. Hero rank. Description. A card that has sealed the soul of the goblin sorcerer. Jiha. When used, he will be summoned as a guardian, and the card will disappear. He was a bit surprised when he read that line. A guardian? A guardian is basically someone who protects their master, just like a fire mage's salamander or an alchemist's golem. Kang Do-hun scratched his head, a little curious. A guardian, huh? Sounds pretty cool. Not bad. But then, remembering Borazum's two beasts, he muttered, unless it's a divine beast, like that purple-haired guy's dragon, Long, or a tiger. As he spoke, Do-hun made his choice. Otherwise, guardians are usually just a waste of money to raise and don't do much. The status line immediately displayed, Summoning Guardian. In an instant, Jiha Black was summoned. Jiha Black. Title, Renowned Guardian. Rank, Hero. Species, Goblin. Level, 1. Loyalty, over 100. Bloodline trait, Necromancer's Curse. Personality, bullies the weak, fears the strong, opportunistic. Skill 1, Create Undead. Description. A survivor of a fallen tribe with a noble bloodline, Jiha Black is a goblin who has lived for hundreds of years. Due to his low level, most of his power is currently sealed. Seeing the figure before him, he cried out in terror. Why is it you? A look of disgust immediately appeared on Do-hun's face. This thing is supposed to be my guardian? Kang Do-hun started to daydream. It was supposed to be cool and strong like other guardians. Oh, whatever. Let's just forget about it. Jiha, meanwhile, fell to his knees in despair. To think I'd have to become a servant to a filthy human. Seeing this, Do-hun felt even more disgusted. A goblin who only knows how to whine and complain. The more Kang Do-hun looked at him, the more contempt he felt. Bullies the weak, fears the strong, and he's an opportunist too? What the hell kind of trait is that? As soon as he had the thought, the system popped up. The loyalty of Guardian Jiha Black is currently very low. Due to Jiha Black's nature, if his loyalty drops too low, he may betray you. Please be careful. After reading that, he couldn't help but widen his eyes and curse inwardly. This is insane. Looking at that cowardly figure, Do-hun clicked his tongue in disdain. With an attitude like that, I can't just let him be. With that thought, he stepped forward, meeting the goblin's terrified gaze. Seeing Do-hun staring at him, Jiha's voice trembled as he demanded, What? You, human? Hearing this, Do-hun frowned in displeasure. You dare call your master human? Furious, Do-hun got right in his face, repeating his words in a low growl. The crushing pressure made Jiha Black's face shrink in terror. He let out a dark chuckle and cracked his knuckles menacingly. Your attitude is completely rotten. For every second that passes, I'm going to give you a beating. The goblin couldn't quite understand and showed a clear look of disbelief. Do-hun didn't explain, but instead gave a cruel smile. It's time for your beating. His large shadow fell over Jiha, who was so scared he fell and sat right on the ground. The only sounds left in the cave were sharp smacks mixed with his miserable screams. Along with them, a series of system notifications flashed continuously. You have attacked your guardian. Loyalty. 2,100. Loyalty. 3,100. Loyalty. 4,100. Loyalty. 5,100. Loyalty. 6,100. The sky turned a pinkish orange as the sun set. The door of the gaming pod opened. Kang Do-hun stretched, looked outside, and commented, It's already getting dark. After that, he left his room and asked, Mom, is there anything to eat in the house? But the only reply came from his little sister. Nope, don't even ask. Do-hun turned to look at his carefree sister on the sofa. A helpless look crossed his face as he sighed internally. Unbelievable. Then, Kang Do-hun sat down with a question. So, where's Mom? She answered simply, she had an appointment. He asked again, What are you watching? She continued her reply, God. Hearing that, Kang Do-hun was a little surprised. God? You play God too? She replied nonchalantly. Who doesn't play it these days? This comment made Kang Do-hun exclaim in astonishment. Really? She said again. Yeah, I'm already level 71. This information made him even more surprised. Wow. Kang Do-hun followed up with a question. To get to 71, you must have had to grind a lot, huh? She continued to eat her snacks while lazily answering. About 6 months, I guess. A friend roped me into it, saying they'd carry me, so I started playing. But I have to admit, this game is actually pretty fun. Hearing his sister say that, Do-hun did a quick mental calculation. 6 months? It takes that long just to get to level 70? Then, she immediately roasted him back. Well, that's because I don't burn 10 hours a day in the game like some people. This time, Kang Do-hun was truly speechless. Just then, a news segment came on TV. Next up, a story on the Hero Guild. I know that guild. His attention immediately shifted to the screen. The Hero Guild, huh? Kang Do-hun's sister quickly explained. They're the hottest group among young people right now. In terms of popularity, they're right up there with Miel. Hearing this, he grew even more curious. But why? They're not even in the top 10, are they? The answer, however, was incredibly simple. Because they're handsome. Duh. On the God TV screen was the leader of the Hero Guild, Ver. His sister propped her chin on her hand and lazily added, even if all the boys like Miel, most of the girls are still obsessed with the Hero Guild. Hearing this, Kang Do-hun immediately scoffed. That guy looks like a total pretty boy. In stark contrast, his pain-in-the-neck sister was completely smitten. Just look at that face. It's the perfect mix of masculine and handsome. He's in a completely different league from you, he muttered in disgust under his breath. Who are you to talk? Completely fed up, Kang Do-hun stood up to leave. Forget this. I'm going to go work out. Unexpectedly, his sister suddenly exclaimed, with a face like that, no wonder his NewTube channel is so popular. He stopped in his tracks. NewTube? He asked. Though she acted nonchalant, she still answered her brother's question. All the big guilds are on NewTube these days. Some of them even get 100 million views. Kang Do-hun's eyes went wide, and his jaw dropped in astonishment. He was instantly captivated and rushed closer to ask for more details. 100 million views? He must be making a fortune, right? She was a bit taken aback by his excitement. I guess so. I heard he makes as much as 1 billion. The number was beyond Kang Do-hun's imagination. 1 billion. How much fried chicken could you buy with that? Then, like a man possessed, he began to repeat himself. 1 billion. 1 billion. She called out to him worried. Hey, what's gotten into you? But Do-hun just drifted into his room in a daze, mumbling, 1 billion. 1 billion. The door then gently closed behind him. Do-hun's sister scrunched her face in confusion. What the hell? He's acting so weird. A system notification chimed as Kang Do-hun logged back into the game. Identity confirmed. Synchronization complete. Connecting to the world of Xavier. Kang Do-hun had logged into the game. He got ready to record, thinking, I'll just record for now, just to be safe. You never know, this footage might come in handy later. Jiha Black stepped out of a black portal, rubbing his eyes. We're in? Hearing this, he felt a surge of irritation and retorted, Oh, you're here? Planning on dropping the formalities, are we? His annoyed tone made Jiha Black panic and quickly explain, No. Master. Kang Do-hun relented with a reminder. It's fine. Just call me whatever's comfortable. Then he tossed him a set of clothes. And you, put this on. He added an explanation. I can't equip it right now anyway. And besides, you need something to cover up with, don't you? Suddenly, the system announced, loyalty has decreased by -2. Jiha flashed a terrifying smile and replied, Since Master has graciously granted me clothes to wear, this one shall now be a free entity. Seeing this, Kang Do-hun glared at him, his aura radiating heavy pressure. What? Jiha Black immediately realized he'd made the wrong move and fearfully tried to justify himself. Ah, no, Master, thank you very much. The system displayed. Loyalty has increased by +2. Looking at him, Kang Do-hun thought with disgust. Is this loyalty stat a rubber band or something? It's so elastic. After putting on the clothes, Jay spoke up. Master, where shall we go now? As if remembering his purpose, Do-hun composed himself and looked forward. We need to grind. These words left Jiha confused. What followed were the pained screams of monsters echoing through the area. The scene was littered with defeated monsters as system notifications rang out continuously. You have slain the forest red goblin. You have defeated the giant spider. Looking at the corpses of the beaten monsters, Jiha Black felt a pang of pity for them. Poor things, he thought. He then glanced over at Kang Do-hun, who was maniacally slaughtering monsters. Of all the people to run into, they had to meet this devil. Jay's train of thought was cut short by a voice calling out. Over here. He immediately looked up, confused. Master? Do-hun sat down to rest and waited for Jiha to approach before quickly giving him a task. That pile of items we just picked up, leave them there and try to create one. He obediently complied. Yes, understood. Next, JH placed the sword he was holding on the ground and walked over to one of the monster corpses. Then, a dark aura began to rise as Jiha started chanting. Gram Mogil Shagra. The monster's corpse was engulfed in a dark aura, its very essence seemingly being drained away. Watching this, Kang Do-hun was quite impressed. The system announced, Protector Jiha Black has successfully turned the forest red goblin into an undead. A moment later, Jay had transformed all the goblin corpses into his own legion and offered an explanation. It is done, Master. Normally, I could create an entire army, but this is my limit for now. Do-hun gave him a compliment. Not bad. Kang Do-hun thought to himself, this will definitely come in handy later. Then, Jay proceeded to say something to the red goblins. They immediately ran off on his command. Seeing this, Do-hun asked confusedly, where are they going? Jiha replied with a proud smile on his face, I've ordered them to go collect the item drops, sir. Hearing this, his look of disgust deepened. He's already learned how to boss them around for chores, but he quickly dismissed the petty thought and started calculating. Oh well, I wonder when I'll finally hit level 2. It'd be great if some elite monsters showed up. Unexpectedly, new information was offered up. Elite monsters, you say? If you're talking about those high-class ones, I know where they are, Master. Kang Do-hun asked, startled. What did you say? He explained seriously. That bunch doesn't do anything all day. They just gather together in one spot. Hearing this, Kang Do-hun's demeanor changed completely, his smile growing wide with excitement. So all the elite monsters are gathered in one place? Above the forest, under a clear blue sky, the elite monsters were indeed gathered together. Jiha and Kang Do-hun were hiding off to the side. What do you think, Master? That's them, isn't it? Kang Do-hun was so excited he broke into a massive, toothy grin. This is incredible. Looking at the monsters before him, he couldn't help but wonder, why are there so freaking many of them? Right on cue, a notification window appeared. Sudden quest. The Warrior's Trial has been activated. Quest. The Warrior's Trial. Rank. Sudden quest. Reward. 100 gold. A large amount of experience. 1 intermediate skill draw ticket. Time limit. 48 hours. Reading this, Kang Do-hun let out a smirk. An intermediate skill draw ticket, huh? I have to complete this one, no matter what. The elite monsters quickly noticed his presence, and without wasting a moment, Do-hun charged right at them. A smirk played on his lips. Hey, you lot. The red goblin immediately prepared to counter, swinging its sword down fiercely. But Do-hun easily dodged and even launched a counterattack. The red goblin growled menacingly. But in the end, it still took a direct hit right to the face. Blood gushed from its nose. The red goblin rolled back several times from the impact. Kang Do-hun's mukbang was just getting started. He swept through the monsters like the wind while activating a deadly strike. System notifications popped up immediately, indicating he had inflicted a bleed status effect. The moment Do-hun stopped, the monsters all collapsed to the ground. From the opposite side, the figure of another red goblin came charging in. Kang Do-hun simply took its attack head-on. Then, he reached behind his back and drew his weapon. A look of surprise flashed across this red goblin's face. Kang Do-hun immediately kicked it to the ground. The red goblin coughed up blood after taking the full force of the blow. Only then did he touch the hilt of his sword and instantly draw the blade. The red goblin let out a threatening roar. However, this had no effect on Do-hun. He simply unleashed a critical strike. Kang Do-hun's expression didn't change at all. While the red goblin writhed in agony, its powerless body fell to the ground from within the bushes. Jiha Black, watching from the side, thought to himself, this is horrifying. He couldn't believe his eyes. I saw him in the western forest too, but that guy can't be human. A look of terror was plastered on Jiha's face as he stared at Kang Do-hun. He's a demon, a true devil. He drove the sword in his hand firmly into the ground. Kang Do-hun looked around and muttered his assessment. The warriors are all cleared out. It's about time he showed himself, right? But unexpectedly, the figure of another monster appeared in the distance. Along with it came a system notification. You have encountered a hidden boss. Great Goblin Warrior Karuk. Information about the quest and the opponent was displayed before him. The Warrior's Trial quest had changed to the Great Warrior's Trial. Great Goblin Warrior Karuk. Title: Elite Grade Hidden Boss. Traits: Great Warrior, Berserker Body Enhancement. However, Kang Do-hun himself flashed a wicked smile. There you are, my precious loot. He raised the sword in his hand, and without wasting a second, Do-hun charged at his opponent. The two clashed in a life-or-death battle. Jiha Black, watching from afar, shouted with concern, Don't, that thing is too much for you, master. He helpfully warned, just clashing with it will shatter your sword. The Great Goblin Warrior Karuk used a brutal strike. Kang Do-hun's eyes didn't show even a flicker of hesitation. Karuk raised the axe in his hand high, then slammed it down with great force, but to everyone's surprise, it didn't even leave a scratch on Do-hun. Even the hiding Jiha was stunned. Kang Do-hun was currently parrying its attack. A pleased smile was on his face. This attitude made the creature feel confused. It roared again and struck once more. The hand Kang Do-hun used to hold his weapon also began to move. He didn't let it attack, but instead launched a preemptive strike. This was followed by a series of high-speed attacks. Jiha Black couldn't believe his eyes and kept asking himself, what in the world is happening in front of me? He watched what was unfolding before him with a look of astonishment. A question just kept popping up. A parry? More on the parry skill. A skill that deflects an opponent's attack. It can fail if the timing is off. Although it's a swordsman's only defensive skill, it's famous for transcending normal skill tiers. If the conditions are met, this is an overpowered technique that can even nullify legendary skills. This skill also has a weakness, but because of its extremely low success rate, almost no one dares to use it in actual combat. Over here, Kang Do-hun was thinking to himself with delight, successfully used the parry skill. I can't believe I got this from a low-grade gacha pull. A system notification appeared. Karuk continued to unleash a brutal strike, followed by an explosion. Before Karuk could understand what was happening, Do-hun had appeared behind it. Only then did Karuk turn its head, greeted by a smile on Kang Do-hun's face. Karuk's skill, it cried out in surprise. Jiha's eyes went wide with shock. In the blink of an eye, Kang Do-hun had cut off Karuk's head. You have defeated the hidden boss, Great Goblin Warrior Karuk. This achievement has been recorded in your adventure log, followed by several system notifications. Congratulations, you have completed the Great Warrior's trial. Rewards include 200 gold, a large amount of experience, 2 intermediate skill draw tickets, and Karuk's leather armor set. He himself was so surprised he cheered out loud. Oh my god, he's actually dead, and I even got 2 skill draw tickets. Kang Do-hun was so excited he jumped up and down on the spot. Jiha, standing to the side, had to grimace, thinking, there he goes again. He started to compare. When he fights, he's just like a demon, but the moment it comes to these card draws. Jiha looked at Kang Do-hun's change in attitude and had to ask himself, why does he suddenly turn into such a dork? Over here, he was navigating the system menu. A whole list of skills appeared, with information for each one popping up in turn. Skill, Rising Dragon Kick. Rarity, Rare. Requirement, Martial Artist Class. Effect, deals massive damage with a kick. Cooldown, 21 seconds. Skill, Heavy Strike. Rarity. Requirement, Support. Effect, increases physical attack by 40 for 40 seconds. Cooldown, 40 seconds. A buff skill just dropped, Heavy Strike. More info on this skill. This is a core skill for dedicated buffers. A 40-second duration with a 40-second cooldown. That's basically a permanent power boost. Besides that, it turns a normal sword into a weapon with the force of a great sword. Reading this, Do-hun was so excited he covered his face. Awesome. This is seriously amazing. An assassin who can self-buff and fight solo. His gaze became more dangerous, and I even got Rising Dragon Kick too. I've wanted to try this move for a long time. It looks so cool. It's perfect. Everything is perfect. But it didn't stop there. The system continued to issue more notifications. Unidentified item. Karuk's red leather armor, crafted from the hide of the Great Goblin Warrior Karuk. Grade, Heroic. Karuk's red leather pants, made from the durable hide of Karuk himself. Grade, Heroic. Below were a few more items. Karuk's blue and red leather pauldrons. Pauldrons crafted from the hide of the Great Warrior Karuk. Grade, Rare. Plus, Karuk's Ring of Essence. A ring containing the essence of Karuk's power. Grade, Heroic. After reading all this, Kang Do-hun commented, finally, I can take off this tattered goblin outfit. He didn't waste any time and equipped them immediately. A system notification appeared, accompanied by a flash of light as the gear changed. You have equipped the full blue and red Great Warrior set. Set effect, cleave range plus 10%, melee damage plus 6.5%, all stats plus B. You have equipped the trainee's sword. Do-hun looked at himself excitedly and remarked, the colors might be a bit flashy, but it looks way cooler this way, right? Jiha Black, standing beside him, was quick to play along. It suits you perfectly, Master. Then, he stepped closer and commented with a grimace, Master, you scare me sometimes. This remark was received positively by Kang Do-hun. You think so too? He added proudly. Even I'm scared of myself. I have no idea how much further I'm going to go. Jiha was completely speechless at Kang Do-hun's supreme narcissism. This guy's a real piece of work, he thought with a sigh. Just that one thought, this crazy bastard, was enough to trigger a notification. Loyalty has decreased by 1. Kang Do-hun immediately looked at him and demanded, what was that just now? Did you just curse me in your head? Jiha Black vehemently denied it. Not at all, Master. However, he had already entered a threatening stance. Step out of line and you're dead. Jiha laughed and stammered in response, yes, Master. Loyalty has increased by 1. Only then did Kang Do-hun let out a reluctant sigh. He sheathed his weapon and started moving. Let's go. Jiha Black, curious, couldn't help but ask, where are we going? Kang Do-hun gave a simple answer. It's time for a boss hunt. He nodded and casually agreed. Well, we've already taken down 1 great warrior, so killing a few more shouldn't be a problem. But as soon as he said it, Jiha himself felt that something was off. Meanwhile, Kang Do-hun was reading the notifications appearing in front of him. To advance to the next city, you must pass the trial of the Sun Continent. Challenge level 1 field boss. Requirement. Reach level 24. Defeat the Spider Queen, Elisa. The next place they stopped was the area where the Spider Queen Elisa appeared, in the Western Forest. Other players had already gathered there. I wonder when it's going to show up. Probably in about 10 minutes. The small groups were constantly discussing amongst themselves. Where will it appear this time? I heard last time it appeared at the Eastern Spiderweb, right? They were all cautiously observing the terrain before them. Then it'll probably be the west or north this time. At that moment, Kang Do-hun and Jiha arrived. He looked down at him and questioned, "Let me ask you seriously, do you actually know where the boss spawns?" Jiha didn't hide anything and answered sincerely, "No, sir. This boss is a new generation, so even I don't know much about it, master." Hearing this, Kang Do-hun let out a weary sigh. "And you said you knew everything about this forest before." He didn't seem to notice the disappointed attitude. In his mind, Kang Do-hun was making his own calculations. So where will it appear? He looked at the terrain and pondered. No matter where it spawns, all I have to do is rush in and use backstab. Just then, a few system notifications suddenly appeared, activating the Punisher's talent. The location of the boss, Spider Queen Elisa, has been revealed. A red shadow of the Spider Queen appeared on the ground, startling Kang Do-hun. What? He couldn't help but feel confused. I don't have the Punisher title for the spider species, do I? However, he quickly figured it out himself. Wait a minute, a theory followed. Could it be that it doesn't just apply to bosses I've killed, but to all types of bosses? But Kang Do-hun wasn't about to waste time on idle thoughts. Whatever, that's not important right now. The corners of his lips curled into an inhuman smile. The important thing is that I can monopolize this boss by using backstab. A blue light then appeared on the ground. From the shadows emerged the figure of a chubby spider, constantly crying out, "Elisa, Elisa." In the blink of an eye, Kang Do-hun appeared behind it. "You have encountered the Spider Queen, Elisa." He looked at his opponent with unconcealed excitement. I can't believe that trick actually worked. Jiha, standing nearby, was so surprised he had to ask, "Master, how did you do that?" Kang Do-hun lazily replied, "It's a long story." His focus was now on the opponent before him. Let's just call this a sweet deal. But then Kang Do-hun stared at Elisa and made an observation. This big baby is seriously huge. Spider Queen Elisa. Title, Elite Field Boss. Species, Spider. Traits, Steel Web, Deadly Venom, Spider Sense. It let out a threatening roar and charged forward. "Elisa!" The cry made him grimace in annoyance. It charged while repeatedly yelling, "Elisa, Elisa, Elisa." Meanwhile, Kang Do-hun was backing away. He moved and used backstab. In an instant, Kang Do-hun vanished from Elisa's sight. It cried out in surprise, "Ay!" From behind, the silhouette of a dragon appeared. Kang Do-hun launched his attack using the Rising Dragon Kick skill. Due to the equipment set effect, damage is increased by 6%. Elisa was hit so hard its eyes went wide, while he remained completely focused on it. After the attack ended, Elisa fell to the ground. Without wasting a second, Kang Do-hun immediately rushed in to attack. Elisa flinched, letting out a dry cry, "Elisa!" However, Kang Do-hun zipped past it with high-speed slashes. His feet slid across the ground. Then, Kang Do-hun gathered momentum and charged toward Elisa again. The system sent a notification. "You are using the Fortify skill. Attack power has been increased." He accelerated, aiming his attack at Elisa. This time, a hint of fear appeared on its face. "Elisa!" The system sent another notification. "You have used the Rising Dragon Kick skill again." The silhouette of a golden dragon appeared once more. Elisa took a full kick to the middle of its head and collapsed. The pain was so intense it coughed up blood. Elisa's entire body slammed hard onto the ground. Jiha had been hiding this whole time. He thought to himself, "My God, I pity anyone who has to face that demon." Kang Do-hun stood his ground, looking at Elisa lying flattened before him. It turned its two glistening eyes toward him and called out, "Elisa." A murderous glint flashed in his eyes. I have no idea what this Elisa name means. However, Kang Do-hun had more than enough patience to force an explanation out of it. Let's see how long you can keep that mouth shut." Knowing this human wasn't joking, Elisa screamed even louder. "La, Elisa." Jiha Black watched Elisa get pummeled, not daring to breathe. There was only one thought in his head. "Master. 2 is so cruel." Kang Do-hun wasn't done with the beatdown yet. "Elisa, la, Elisa." It was then that Jiha Black froze, as if he remembered something. Elisa. That name sounds really familiar. His jaw dropped as he finally understood. Then, Jiha rushed to stop him. "Master, stop!" He ran towards Kang Do-hun with all his might, trying to intervene. "Wait, master, please stop." His frantic attitude confused him. "What's wrong?" Jiha ran to Elisa, worriedly asking it, "Elisa, it's me. Open your eyes and look." Elisa. It struggled to look towards him and responded, Jiha pulled down his hood and continued, Elisa, it's me. Don't you recognize me? Elisa's eyes were now filled with tears. Elisa. The story has to begin 150 years ago. Back then, Jiha was taller than he is now. While he was on the move, he heard someone calling out, Elisa. Jiha looked at Elisa and remarked, There's something strange about this spider, isn't there? Elisa stared at him, calling out, Elisa. Jiha's attention was glued to it. A spider like this exists? He chuckled and offered, Hey, wanna come with me? Elisa chirped in excitement. La. Its sparkling eyes stared intently at him. La. Elisa. It continued to cry out repeatedly. La. Elisa. Jiha Black responded gently. La. Huh? Is that your name? A mischievous grin spread across his face. But calling you La sounds a bit too plain. How about I call you Elisa? Elisa was so thrilled with the name that it jumped for joy. La. Elisa. Jiha Black gave a weary smile and patiently explained. Not La. It's Elisa. Elisa. However, his words were like water off a spider's back. La. Jiha Black was helpless. All right, have it your way. I'll call you Elisa. Then. He then reached for his cloak. Elisa. I have to go on an errand by myself today. This declaration confused Elisa so much that it tilted its head. La. Jiha immediately refused. No, you can't. That place is still too dangerous for you. It could only watch him leave. As he reached the door, Jiha didn't forget to say, Well then, I'm off. Elisa had been staring at him the whole time. La. However, the story had a sad ending, and so, its master never returned. Time passed. Sunsets fell, the moon rose bright, then waned, and the sun began a new day. 1 year passed. 10 years passed. 100 years passed, as it waited tirelessly for its master without rest. It wasn't until the small tent had gradually rotted away with time that a momentous decision was finally made. Elisa decided to head towards the western forest, to find the place where she and her master first met. Throughout that journey, she kept repeating the name he had given her so she wouldn't forget, leading to this deeply moving reunion in the present. Elisa. Kang Do-hun, standing to the side, asked nonchalantly. So, to sum it up, you abandoned Elisa? His words made Jiha freeze. However, right after that, the two of them rushed into an embrace and began sobbing again. Elisa. Another question was raised. But why did you have to hide? It wasn't just a few years, it was 150 years. This time, Jiha explained in a soft voice, I can't reveal that. Master, it's beyond my current capabilities. This answer confused him. What does that even mean? But he explained once more, I'm sorry, Master. His serious expression made it impossible for Kang Do-hun not to believe him. He let out a long sigh and looked around. So, what should we do now? This is the final quest, so we can't just give up halfway. Jiha frowned in agreement. That's right, Master. Just then, Elisa spoke up again. Elisa. He immediately looked over at it. What is it? Elisa's expression changed. La. Hearing this, Jiha couldn't help but feel shocked. What? What do you mean by that? He desperately tried to stop it. No, absolutely not. However, Elisa was adamant. La. A confused Kang Do-hun cut in. Hey, what's going on? Jiha wore a grave expression and explained, It's asking me to kill you, Master.